trying to think off the top of my head. Damo, Liam Smith, we mentioned earlier. Harry Pearce has gone up there as well. Tyler Bowden has gone back to Claremont. We saw Brady Quinn go to Claremont there for a while, but good to see him back in the Glenorchy lineup. We mentioned Lauderdale and their concerns at the moment with Bryce Walsh injuring himself last weekend and will be out for the next 12 weeks, I think it was. Also, we know that Thor Boscott has an extended stint on the sidelines as well. Max Clevercamp, Brownie, it was important for them last year, but he's gone as well. So a few fresh faces out there. Looking forward to seeing the Indigenous boys play for Lauderdale today. There's certainly some big raps on them, and I can't wait to see them on the big expanses of KG5 this afternoon.
We'll certainly hear a little bit about them during the call, because they were certainly lively last week. Boys, we were down there and had a look at that game against Clarence. But I mean, the key outs for me for Lauderdale, obviously Boscott and Walsh is some significant omissions from their grunt and their midfield, and you throw in Dylan Fife, of course, who's has moved to play with Asperley in the NEFL. So that's a loss for them. And you mentioned some of those outs as well for Glenorchy. And the other one that will be a hard play to replace, played state level last year, was Jordan Arnold. So he'll be a difficult one for the Pies to replace. They also lose Mitch Hills from an experience point of view, a player that can go into the ruck and push forward and also go back if need be.
Ben Reynolds, the other one too, Brandon, yes, from a more experienced point of view.
Yeah, and look, he came back, didn't he, last season, and certainly acquitted himself pretty well. So it's a new look line-up in many respects for the Pies today, and also Lauderdale will give some opportunities. You mentioned some of the new players that played last week for them. So, look, both teams, Glenorchy, a little bit of an interrupted start for them because they were the team with the bye, obviously, last week with 3 teams in a 7-team competition. I saw them play against the Mariners Damo a couple of weeks ago in a practice match, and the Mariners just got hold of them in that one, but it was more a hit-out, and some of the prime movers on that occasion, Jay Bowden was pretty strong in that game. Look for Harrison Gunther to play across half-back, boys, today. He certainly played that role in the Mariners game, so you would think with a week out that he'd be looking to play that role outright because it was so close, I guess, to the season. So you'd think it would be a reasonable look what we saw a couple of weeks ago with Glenorchy against the Mariners. It would be a similar position-wise, you would think.
Alex Heavey in charge of the Bombers today. And they just had the toss.
Just quickly, Breno, no great shock that Cam Brown all over Harrison Gunther and his movements. We all know he's a big fan of Gunther.
Well, he's what would you say? He's been elevated into the leadership group, which is a feather in his cap at such a young age too. So they think highly of him, and from what I'm told, certainly cares about his footy. And he was certainly in the mix last year and spoken about as a potential draftee. Went across and played some footy at TAC Cup level as well. Before coming back and playing some footy in the finals for the Pies. So, yeah, he's certainly one that he would be looking to have a really strong season this year.
Really looking forward to see how Mitch Walker goes in black and white. Of course, played for the Kingborough Tigers last year. Has a bit about him, has hops, and can really run and jump at the football. Interesting to see how he goes in the Glenorchy setup. A really different forward to the likes of Hills and Reynolds, which they had last year.
No, and yeah, he'll give him something a little bit different. And you mentioned play the Tigers. Also was at East Coast Bombers many years ago. Played his junior footy at Glenorchy, so he's back where it all started. And he'll certainly play forward, you would think, today. Damo, he's a power athlete. Probably the kicker might be the knock on his game. So if you can sort of sort that out when he gets an opportunity from a set shot inside 50, then he could do some real damage this afternoon.
You mentioned the Indigenous inclusions into this Lauderdale side, Breno. Really exciting, and I like the out-of-the-box thinking from Lauderdale, going in and getting some players that have played some football in Northern Territory and bringing them into the lineup. And last week they were really exciting. They've got some tricks in their bag, and I can't wait to see what they do today. But there's an extra one in the fold with Justin Cooper also arriving. So we've got 4 boys. I think they're all from the Northern Territory. So really, really exciting. And as I said, I like the left of centre thinking in terms of bringing some new talent into the competition.
Couldn't agree with you more, Damo. We better get a tip about to start. I like Glenorchy at home, Cam, and yourself?
I think so. I think it'll be pretty tight. Under 10 points for mine and Glenorchy. Just the fact that they're playing at home should get them over the line. Jay Bowden is going to full forward by the look of it, Damo, and as predicted, Harrison Gunther's across half-back.
Plenty of talk about Jay Bowden, how much of a part he's playing this season. He lines up, as you said, full forward, first game of the year. The stars are still there for Glenorchy, so I'm tipping them as well. I just think Lauderdale a little undermanned. They did get the chocolates against Glenorchy on this very ground last year, though, so Don't undersell the Bombers. But yeah, the Pies for me. So here we are. The start of the round 2 clash between Glenorchy and Lauderdale. And we're up and underway. Smith down, wins the tap, finds Bellchambers. Work from Franklin. Out looking for Cooper, freshly involved. He spins and he goes. Misguided kick. Finds Millhouse of the opposition. Millhouse will steady, looking bored. Finds one in Mott. Mott goes back to his defence. A shaky looking kick. Lets in Lauderdale. Heavey drops it off for McManus. That ball smothered by Rainbird. Rainbird now with the ball in his hands. And a tackle. Will be a ball up. Inside attacking 50 for the Bombers. The first entry of the game.
Bellchambers becomes an important player, doesn't he, Damo? With the amount of players out of that Lauderdale midfield, he'll get an opportunity today.
Smith tapped it down to McManus, who's back into the team this afternoon after that one-game suspension last weekend for his role in the grand final as the Pies bring it out of defence to the far wing here at KG5. And here's the man that owns the ground, Jay Bowden. Started down at full forward. He pushes it long. Straight past Mosquito. Still with the Magpies. Bierman goes backwards to Webster, who kicks it forward, and the mark taken by Raglione for the Bombers. He switches place. Sutton's there. Oh, well done by James Webb, but Sutton wins the footy back and pushes it forward now. Up here to the wing in front of us in the commentary position. A nice mark taken there by Daniel Joseph. Great to see him back in Glenorchy colours as well. And spots up the skipper in Braden Webb, and he'll kick from a slight angle.
Well, that's always been his one with Daniel Joseph. He's always been a beautiful left foot kick of the footy, and didn't have much margin for error there, and was able to spot up his captain, who will get a good look at it from 45 metres. Just I heard you mention too in the call there, young Bierman too. Just a 16-year-old making his debut from New Norfolk today. One of 3 debutants that will be running around for Glenorchy. We'll touch on them shortly.
So the skipper, Braden Webb, lines up, but it's offline and through for a minor score. So Glenorchy with the first score of the afternoon.
Might even be 15, Bierman, by the look of the ages too.
Extraordinary if true, Cam.
So the kick out for the Bombers will be Alex Hill. He plays on immediately to himself. A long bomb. Out onto the wing here. Flying was McManus. Couldn't bring it under his spell, and out it goes.
Yeah, 3 to keep your eye on today, boys. Jack Stevenson wearing number 14 for Glenorchy. He's making his debut. We mentioned Bierman, who'll wear number 35 for Glenorchy. The other one is Adam Roberts wearing number 24.
So some new players, some youth injected into this Glenorchy lineup. Great to see under the leadership of Paul Kennedy. In it goes. Duffy and Smith collide. That one's halved. Rainbird just throws it on the boot, a bouncing ball, and it's gathered by Mosquito. He just loses it. Rainbird again spins around, a bouncing ball looking for Bowden. Coming across to chop out was Ben McGuinness. He can't gather, neither can Hill. They're on hands and knees trying to get this one out. Lauderdale gets out eventually, but to the opposition. They fall into the back of Rainbird. Oh no, it's gone the other way. Be a Lauderdale kick. There's a bit of action going on behind the scenes. So they'll bring it out of defence. It's McGuinness who spots up one. It's dropped off to Bellchambers. He powers on through the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball on the outer side looking for Wiggins, but it's McManus who's first to it. It's forced over and will be thrown in. On the outer wing here at KG5. Glenorchy lead it by just the minor score.
Beautiful day too for footy. KG5 bathed in sunshine at the moment. Nice crowd building up as well as the ball comes back in. Duffy and Smith, 2 of the competition's best last season. Zach Webster, it'd be great to see how he goes this year. Cam Brown.
Well, he's always had his battles with injuries, Zach, so we'd love him to have a really good crack at it and play, 20 games uninterrupted would be a fantastic result for him. Had a lot of issues with hamstrings and thigh injuries over the journey of his career.
The coach was pretty keen to keep him on here at Glenorchy, so great to see that that's transpired. And here we go through Cooper now for Lauderdale. He puts on the burners, and only as far as Glenorchy though, and here come the Magpies out of defence. Mott gets the handball away, and now back into dangerous territory for them. The Bombers land on it through McManus, and the ball's not going anywhere. And we'll have a ball up about 40 metres out from Lauderdale's goal. Who will get the first goal of the afternoon?
It's been a cagey start, Bruno.
It has indeed. As we go up again. Run down by Duffy out to Rainbird. And out in his own was the Glenorchy player, but unfortunately couldn't take the mark and out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
Young Roberts there. He probably should have taken that one on the first grab. Maybe a bit of first game jitters.
Absolutely. So we wait for the ball again. It's Duffy and Smith. Good contest brewing this afternoon between that pair. Cooper got wrapped up in the big tackle from Rainbird. And the Bombers win it out. And now they're away again. Inside 50. Is anybody home? Wiggins chases after the footy. He puts it on the left and unfortunately hits the post for a minor score. And Lauderdale get their first of the afternoon.
You would have liked that one. Ryan Wiggins held goalless last week. Really important player for them.
He's a barometer of sorts, isn't he? And Gunther brings this one outside 50, lining up in defence as Cam Brown flagged. Alex Hill now for the red and black, powers it inside 50.
Oh.
Under it is McManus, and he takes the grab. Just snuck over the back and onto his chest, and he'll line up to try and get a goal on the board here at KG5.
Yeah, great to see him back, Cam, after a dirty day last year in the grand final, it's fair to say, for Lauderdale, and would have stung him not to be out there last week for his team, but yeah, great to see him back. A great and important player for Lauderdale too.
Very important player, and he can do this, push forward and kick a goal. He's certainly got a lot of consistency in his game over the last few years.
Had a fantastic season last year. How's he going to start the 2018 season? Not well, offline out to the right, so leaves it hanging. Still yet to see a goal in this game. One behind Glenorchy plays two behind Lauderdale. Right on out of defence. A long bomb. Under it is Duffy and Hill. Neither gets to it on the full. Rainbird gathers on the hop. Gets it long to Walker. His first involvement in black and white is a fumble. It keeps moving though. It's with the youngster Roberts. He gets it to Camerick. Long and strong looking for Bowden. He's there. He picks up the crumb and soccers through. The first goal of this one sees Glenorchy hit the front. 1 goal, 1-7. Plays two behinds. Lauderdale.
Wonderful example of the great balance of Jay Bowden there. He just didn't panic, and once the ball got over his back, his opponent was in a world of pain. He was able to sock it off the ground. But some really good ball movement there from Glenorchy. Well done too to young Roberts too. Showed a little bit of poise there in traffic with a nice little neat handball. So a couple of good early touches for him, and Glenorchy get their first on the board. Great
to see Jay Bowden playing for Glenorchy this year. There was a bit of uncertainty about the commitment he'd have to the team this year. There was a bit of talk he might have been travelling overseas, but as far as we know, he is playing every week for the Magpies. And here's Rainbird getting it outside the centre square. All Lauderdale though. Handball over the top from Sutton. And now the big turnover. Walker gets it backwards to James Webb, who pumps a high ball inside 50. Bowden lurking again, couldn't take the mark. And now here's Daly. He gets wrapped up with the footy. Still with the Pies. Gear gets it off to Sutton. Sutton wrapped up in the big tackle now as well. Umpire letting it go. Eventually says, I'll have it. And we'll have a ball up inside 50 for the Magpies.
Played really well in the final, in the losing final last year, Daly. I think he was almost Glenorchy's best player from memory. Damo, the multiple best and fairest winner from Brighton.
It's inside Glenorchy's 50, and here we go. Here's another chance for them to get a goal, and they have a great goal from the youngster in Bierman. And the Pies have their second of the afternoon.
Well, it's just too much room in the stoppage there, wasn't it? He was able to waltz in to an open goal with zero pressure on, so they won't be happy with that. Clinton Brown, just the amount of latitude that was afforded Glenorchy there in that stoppage.
It's not often you look at a team sheet and you see 2002 as the year of birth, boys. It is extraordinary, and what a way for him to start this afternoon.
So sunbathing this KG5 venue. It's looking good with the new facilities here. It's looking good for the Magpies on the field. A fast start, 2 goals, 1-13. Leaves Lauderdale two behinds. Back in the middle. Smith taps down, not going far though. It's gathered by the Magpies, but they all pile on top. It'll be another stoppage. It'll be rinse and repeat in the middle of the ground.
young Beerman boys. He's in the 30-man squad for the state under-16 Tassie footy team.
So Parker gets the hit out, but it's Lauderdale that emerged with a clearance, but it's touched off the boot. McManus eventually realises, gets it moving. Casellas trying to find a teammate. Eventually does with a little bit of help. He chopped off in defence by the Magpies. Pressure on them though. Negotiated by Jay Bowden, does nicely. Finds Webster. Webster over the top. They're running away now through Joseph. His pass, not the best, out on the full in fact. I know, thrown in.
Call it throwing.
I think it probably was out in the full, so a bit of a let-off.
Just saw some of the exquisite foot skills, didn't we, of some of the Glenorchy players there.
That's the thing about Glenorchy, they just couldn't get it going last year, but they've got all the pieces. Over the back, straight to Rainbird. Throws it on the boot, a bouncing ball into the pocket. Bounces out of play, will be thrown in as Glenorchy inch forward.
He's had a few early touches, Mitch Rainbird, playing in the midfield. He was involved in the goal and the build-up to Jay Bowden a little bit earlier with a great kick-out from a behind where Gunther kicked in before.
So Walker and Hill with ruck duties. Hill slaps it down. Rainbird there on hand to gather the ball. They jump on top of him. And it'll be another ball up inside attacking 50 for the Magpies. Up they go again. Hill wins this one, but it's to Mott of the opposition. Off hands. And it's a flying, I think it was a pass from Daly. Misses his target in Bowden. And out on the full.
So the skipper today for the Bombers, Alex Heavey, with the footy. Bryce Walsh, of course, out of this lineup this afternoon. Heavey's kick's a dangerous one. It's all right, though. And now Lauderdale are away through Hill. And now Smith will get the footy. Gives the quick handball away. And they're off again, the Bombers. Here's Bellchambers, takes the nice mark right in the middle here at KG5. He pumps it inside 50. Who's lurking? Wiggins is there. Bounces over his head. Well done by the Magpies in Grant. And now they've got the turnover. And the mark taken nicely out there on the wing by Quinn, who was off from Glenorchy over the off-season, but has found his way back. Here's Geared. And here's Beerman, the goal scorer from a few moments ago. Went past him and picked up by Stanley. Oh, well done. The don't argue there came from Hooker and goes inside 50, but straight to the opposition, unfortunately. Joseph, who's been was a mainstay in this Glenorchy team before heading up to Queensland for a few years. McGuinness back in the lineup this afternoon as well. Mark couldn't be taken by McManus. The Pies win the footy once more. It was Parker running into trouble there, and the umpire will take the footy. So Glenorchy 2-1-13, Lauderdale 2 behinds. 13 minutes gone this opening term at KG5. Smith punches away. McManus couldn't collect. Umpire's blown the whistle though, and a free kick going the way of Robbie McManus. He drills it inside 50, and the mark taken on the chest by one of those 4 Indigenous boys that are playing this afternoon. It's a great story for Lauderdale. Kick from just outside 50. Goes the short option, and the mark taken by Reece Sutton directly in front, and will kick from just under 40 metres out.
It's Cantilla who passed that one. I saw him up close last week. Really crafty inside 50.
He is, and he kicked the goal and also had a hand in a few as well.
Reece Sutton, the kick doesn't look his best. It doesn't quite get the journey and through for a minus score. So that's 3 for Lauderdale now. Glenorchy 2-1 at 13. Daniel Joseph with the kicking in duties for the Pies. In it comes. And Big Duff takes the mark. It's a big man. Loves to clunk the footy. His kick's not his best. And the mark taken by Mosquito. Probably the best name in the TSL now.
Absolutely.
By a long stretch. And Sutton again, who's been busy early in this opening term. He's trying to find an option. He does. It's a dangerous one though in Wiggins, I think it was. Ball still with the Bombers. Dribbles inside 50. Here's McManus, gets the handball away. Unfortunately, they can't collect the footy, but a free kick has been paid. And it's on. Bit of push and shove here now.
Just
But
a little
we'll
bit
see,
over-exuberant. I think it might
yeah.
have been Harrison Gunther with the tackle there, which was just too high.
So this is exciting because in his first game, Justin Cooper will go back and have a shot on a slight angle.
I probably need this, Lauderdale. I've had a number of inside 50 entries without kicking a major.
Justin Cooper, his first game for the Lauderdale Footy Club. Can he split the sticks? Loads up on the right. It might be slightly offline. It is. So
He's got his approach all wrong then, Breno, didn't he? Just a stuttering approach and wasn't fluent at all.
So they bring it out of defence, the Magpies. Looking onto the outer wing for Stevenson. Youngster does reel it in eventually. Hands off. They'll race away now through Millhouse. His ball misdirected for Bowden, but Bowden good enough to make something of it. Steers inside, finds Daly.
My man.
He was a real find last year, as Cam Brown said. They're expecting big things from him this year. Moves this one looking for Duffy, the big man. Gets hands to it, but can't reel it in. Hill finds Stanley. A bit of time to assess options. Looks for his ruckman in Smith. He takes the grab. Inboard, he's got Sutton. Ignores that. Looking longer. Big right boot. Bell Chambers tries to interrupt it, but it was straight to the opposition in Salter. I'll move it to the half back. Just a bit indecisive back there. Glenorchy eventually finds Gunther. Rocking a loud set of wheels. Powers it onto the wing. It's a nice kick and it's a nice mark by Geared. Takes the grab.
Cam Brown bought those wheels for Harrison Gunther just so it makes it
No
easy
doubt.
to see out there.
Personal sponsor over the top. Rainbird takes the grab. He's been very busy inside. He sees something he likes, and that's Daly. Daly over the top.
Great
Options
kick.
are plenty, and it was a great kick.
Yeah, got one.
And it finds Parker. Parker over the top, looking for the skipper, Webb. Webb towards goal. Finds
terrific
Walker. Beautiful kick. He'll wheel around and put through. Glenorchy's third. They're up and about here at KG5.
Well, it's good for the confidence of Walker. He's got his hands on a couple early on in this game, but was able to, the benefactor there of a very unselfish kick from Braden Webb. Could have easily blazed away, Damo, but was able to just pull the kick a little bit, hit the top of the square. His coach would love that. And a really nice finish for Walker, able to play on. And a fast start for Glenorchy, 15-point lead already.
Yeah, handy pick up. Mitch Walker for Glenorchy, no doubt about that. Really happy to gain his services. So 15-point lead to the Magpies. Almost time on in this first term. We restart in the middle. Duffy taps it down. And now Bell Chambers got the handball away, but Reece Mott, he throws it back inside 50 for the Magpies. Anybody there? There is. Webb gets it off to Daly. Daly gets the kick under pressure away. It's bounced through for a beautiful goal. And the Pies are off to a flyer here at KG5.
Well, they're just doing the predictable things better at the moment than Lauderdale. It was a long, direct kick and a beautiful handball from the skipper, Braden Webb, to Daly, who, under a little bit of pressure, but still was able to scramble it through for a goal. So some worrying signs already here for Lauderdale. They'll be looking to Smith to try and get his hands on the ball in this centre bounce clearance, who was pretty good last week, the big fella in the ruck against Clarence. Bell Chambers was another one of their better players. They need to get their hands on the footy now.
Smith does, but it's straight to the opposition in Camerick. A big booming boot inside 50. Gunther's got the sit, and he comes out and claims it. Cam Brown, you'll be happy with that.
You probably should let him call this one through, Damo. I know his special comments, but could be good.
He'll kick this, boys. He's a lovely kick of the footy.
I'm noticing, Cam, that Glenorchy are just shaking up their setups a little bit. Jay Bowden started forward. He's gone back now, and Gunther's gone the other way. And
it's a great call, Damo. Rainbird's another one that can push forward deep. So they've got that versatility, and their players can play multiple roles.
So here he comes, crosses the paint. Good purchase on the kick. It's all about accuracy, and he's got it. It's another for Glenorchy. Harrison Gunther on the board.
What a fast start this is from the Magpies. 6 scoring shots to 4. but they lead by 27 points. So a dominant performance in the early stages of this game.
And Lauderdale had a couple of chances, haven't they, to score from some set shots, so they desperately need a goal, need to get their hands, and probably Big Wiggins, if they could get involved in the game, catch it. Hooker's another one they'd like to see involved.
Duffy wins on this occasion. Ball spills to ground. Players dive on it. The umpire eventually blows the whistle as we hit time on in this opening term.
Just really getting murdered around the contest at the moment, Lauderdale.
Duffy again from behind wins the tap. And now the ball again, another inside 50 for the Magpies. Mark couldn't be taken. Daly's there amongst it again. Lauderdale though, McGuinness can't pick it up. And it's approaching the boundary line, eventually falls over.
I wouldn't mind seeing Josh McGuinness on ball. Just
Yeah, good call.
We saw that a bit last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
He's always been a very good decision maker, good distributor of the football by hand or foot.
So we're inside Glenorchy's attacking 50. Ball. Umpire's paid a free kick here to Lauderdale. So the Bombers, a chance to reset here and try and go for their first goal of the match. Ball comes up the wing. McManus is there, but well done by Joe Bowden to see it over for another boundary throw-in. Brownie, what sort of advantage does Paul Kennedy have having the week off last week? Having a look at Lauderdale, sort of a double-edged sword, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, it is. It is, and they've obviously used it to their advantage. They're able, as you mentioned, to be able to get a really good look at their opposition 7 days out.
Here's Mott now. So clever. Can't get it on this occasion, though, and it's, again, seen over for another throw. 21 minutes, 40 gone. 5-1-31. Plays 4 behinds in this round 2 TSL clash at KG5. Plenty of other footy across the state this afternoon. Tigers and North Launceston at UTAS Stadium, and North Hobart and Launceston at Windsor Park. Get some scores from those throughout the afternoon. Here's the Magpies. Kick didn't work out for them. And now that's a bad handball. Braden Webb collects for Glenorchy inside 50. Mark couldn't be taken over the back, but the easiest of goals for the Magpies in the end, over the back to Brady Quinn. And it is all Glenorchy in this opening term at KG5.
They've got a few like that in this first quarter. And again, it's just their ability out of the stoppages of Glenorchy, and their forward half defensive pressure would be really thrilling Paul Kennedy at the moment, because Lauderdale have had some real difficulties getting it out of their back half, and Glenorchy have been able to lock it in until they've scored, and that's their 6 inside 23 minutes in the first quarter, Damo.
Yeah, they're on song, the Magpies. Real danger signs for Lauderdale. Bit undermanned in the engine room, it has to be said, particularly with Bryce Walsh going down last week. The bounce, not a good one. We'll have another crack at that by Sam Bridges in the middle.
Nat Franklin had a terrific year last year, the best and fairest winner for Lauderdale. They need a bit of a lift from him at the moment.
Up it goes. Smith with a hit out. It's a good one. Bell Chambers with a bit of space to do his work. Gets it on the boot. Not a great kick. Cut off for an instant by Joseph. He eventually gets it in hand into the middle. The little one over the top to Quinn. Boot out on the outer wing looking for Daly. Doesn't get to him, bounces out of play, but they get valuable yardage there, Glenorchy. So 23 and change gone, in this first term between Glenorchy and Lauderdale. Glenorchy well on top. 6 goals won. Lauderdale yet to trouble with a goal. It's Heavey on hand now, gets a little boot out. A shimmy and a shake from the skipper. Braden Webb puts it inside 50. They jump for it. It's black and white everywhere here. Daly tries to pick it up, can't. It's congested and hot footy. It comes to Rainbird, but there's a whistle. It's a throw, so it'll be Lauderdale ball. Someone in a spot of bother here. Might be
Fair mark from
Scott Hill, yeah.
Ben McGuinness with the ball in hand, boys. A fair mark that he took in the last quarter down at Lauderdale against Clarence last week.
Absolutely terrific. And we know he can do that, Ben McGuinness.
Well, he's one that potentially could go forward, and they might throw Wiggins down back, potentially.
So a bit of a delay here. No, he doesn't. I think they're calling for the stretcher, are they? 37 plays 4. Cam, big news during the week with Jordan Roberts deregistered from footy. How much of an effect will that have on the Bombers players this afternoon? Because speaking to some people at the club yesterday, it sounds like it had a pretty big impact on the group.
Yeah, well, obviously a grand final player for them last year, and he certainly had some good moments. One of the games that we called last year, I think he kicked 3 or 4 goals against Clarence down at Lauderdale on that occasion. So he's an important player for them, and unfortunately, through a range of indiscretions, he's no longer able to play in the competition. So he's gone back to his family, I believe.
Yep.
Is that right, boys?
Yep,
gone back to Cairns and spent some time around his family. So, yeah, certainly, no doubt. And from what we're reading and hearing about, he was a popular player among the club. So, no doubt that'll have some effect on what's going on at the moment for the Lauderdale Footy Club. But it's probably not a bad time for them to have a bit of a break here and reassess, albeit at the expense of an injury. 33 points down. Haven't been able to kick a goal yet, Lauderdale. So we certainly hope no serious injury. You've got some scores, Damo?
Yes, in North Launceston off to a flyer, 4 goals, 4-28, leads 1 goal straight. So over the Kingborough Tigers there. Just trying to find the score from the other one. Not quite accessible. It says Thorpe's kicked a goal, so just trying to track down the actual score there. But
the North Hobart Launceston game, which will be a good test, won't it, for a young North Hobart team? Who, it's got to be said, boys, weren't disgraced last week, were they? I know you boys were both at that game against the Tigers.
No, they showed a bit early, Cam, that's for sure, the young North Hobart side, especially in that first half. And Richard Robertson, the coach, said the younger blokes started cramming up a little bit in that back half of the game. So, there might be some issues around the recovery there, I suppose. But no doubt it'll be a big test for them this afternoon. And great to see the North Hobart name back in the competition. So we are paused here at KG5 as the stretch has gone out to collect Scott Hill. Quite a lengthy delay this has turned into now, so hopefully everything's okay out there.
Yeah, not good, is it? You never like to see this in a game of football. When the stretch is called for, it's never a good sign. We wish Scott Hill all the best. Lauderdale certainly don't need another charger down.
No, we'll limit them with their rotations. Gee, Daniel Joseph started well, boys, across half-back. Had a terrific season with Aspley, best and fairest winner. Also represented the NEFL against Tasmania last year. But it's a luxury having him just cruising across half-back, whether it be with his damaging left foot or his anticipation skills. A great interceptor of the footy, Breno, and it's certainly setting up nicely across half-back at the moment.
Yeah, what a pickup he is for Glenorchy. I mean, when I heard he was coming back, I thought, wow, that's...
They've done very well out of their underage program. A lot of these boys have been involved in the Mariners. Zach Webster, Mitch Rainbird, Reece Mott's another one, Josh Arnold, Gunther. So, even going back to Jay Bowden many years ago, a lot of these guys have represented their state at junior level, and it's a credit to the pathways of the Glenorchy Footy Club and able to develop these players. And they've played a lot of football together now, haven't they? They're probably, a lot of them, 6 or 7 years into senior footy, probably played 120, 130 games, a lot of these boys.
He looks in considerable discomfort here, which is not good at all. So we do wish Scotty Hill all the best. He gets an applause. He goes over the bench. Not good news at all. So play will shortly resume. Lauderdale have a real job to do to get themselves back in this contest. It's in their hands now through Ben McGuinness. A long and high kick onto the outer wing. It's Smith who gets a hand to it and sees it out for a throw in. Does a good job for Lauderdale. Hayden Smith, often undersized. He's got his work cut out for him today with arguably the best ruckman in the comp in camp, Duffy. Duffy gets the hand of this one. Franklin burrows in and he's caught high, so he'll have free kick. Drops it off, finds McGuinness racing out of half back, hands off by Ray Hill, then to Ben McGuinness, and now Heavey. A long kick for Campbell Hooker. He can't reel it in. He's got Sutton on the outside if he can find him. Cantilla onto the ball. Can't do much with it, but he's held without it, so he'll get another crack. And this should be the opening goal for Lauderdale. That was good movement through the middle of the ground, Cam Brown.
It was terrific, and the first time in the in this game that we've been able to get through a chain of handballs, break open through the centre there, and a kick forward.
Very casual approach.
And they're on the board.
And he snuck it home. Cantilla on the board, and so are Lauderdale. Still a lot of work to do here, boys. 6 goals, 137 plays, 1 goal, 4-10.
McGuinness brothers involved there among a number of Lauderdale players who were involved in a chain, transitioning the ball from the back half, and it was quick, fast ball movement, gave their forwards an opportunity. Hooker in a contest there was able to sock it off the ground, and then a free kick allowed them to get there first.
Back underway in the middle. Not too long left in this opening term. It will be a slightly longer quarter, though, with the incident with Reece Sutton being taken from the ground. Back inside 50 for Glenorchy. Oh, here's Walker again. Can he nab a second? He's got one already, the new recruit. He can! Mitch Walker, 2 first quarter goals. Glenorchy out to a 33-point lead.
Well, cast in the role of a rover there, Damo. He actually decided not to go up in the contest. It was a 2-on-1 there for Lauderdale, but Mitch Walker stayed down. It was a smart snap across the body from a fair distance out, probably about 35 metres across the body, and was able to put through Glenorchy's 7th, and he's looked lively.
The immediate reply, exactly not what Lauderdale needed. Deep in this opening term, the dying embers of the quarter. 31 and change so far. Up it goes. It's won by Duffy. Mott tries to get a hold of it. Josh McGuinness is in at the middle now. He's racing after this one. Punches it forward. Gets it moving their way. Franklin on hands and knees. Gets a handball out. Good through traffic was Roberts. Puts on to the outer wing. Looking for that little pocket rocket that is Daly. Your boy, Breno.
Here's my boy.
Sockers it to himself. Gets a bit more on this kick. Looking deep. Looking for Walker. Alex Hill. Good body movement. Gets the ball. Finds Sutton. Off half back. The handball in front of Josh McGuinness, not the best. He does his best to make something of it. Drops it off for Casellas. Then Franklin. He can't cut it off. It's sloppy stuff at the back from Lauderdale. And will not make them pay. No, touched. A minor score. They got away with one there, Lauderdale. Alex Hill, a little kick into the pocket is good. Not long at all to go in this quarter, you think, Raglione. A sloppy kick out of defence, straight to the opposition, and not a man you want with a ball in Webb. Drops it off for Mott with a handball. Shimmies and shakes, a little one inside for Daly. Off hands. It's punched through. It was off the boot of Camerick. He couldn't quite steer it goalward. Punched through for a minor score. So another one for Glenorchy. Lauderdale just having real trouble getting it out of their defensive half.
No real breeze to speak of either, boys. With Glenorchy kicking to the left of screen.
There's a whistle.
He's gone over the line, has he?
He's played on. And the umpire's not happy with it, so a goal here would
this
hurt
is where
big
they've heard
time.
them at the stoppages. Keep your eye on Rainbird.
So Rainbird is who we're looking for. Duffy, Walker rather, off hands. And it is straight to Rainbird. The siren sounds on the opening quarter here. Round 2, BUPA TSL action. Glenorchy well on top. 7 goals, 3-45. Lead Lauderdale, 1 goal, 4-10. And Glenorchy, it's fair to say, have rung out a bit of a warning siren to the whole competition, I think, in this opening term. They look serious.
They certainly do. An electric start by the Magpies. Wonderful to see. Let's go through the goal kickers. Mitch Walker, the new recruit for Glenorchy, 2 goals. Singles to Brady Quinn, Callan Daly, Harrison Gunther, Jay Bowden, and the youngster, Jai Bierman, in his first game. And for Lauderdale, the only goal kicker, Cantilla. So, quarter time, 7-3-45 to 1-4-10.
Gee, it's a handy break, 35 points, and Paul Kennedy would be delighted in his first quarter in charge of Glenorchy Footy Club as he makes his way out at quarter time. And it was on the back of some wonderful work in the stoppages. They certainly worked hard, the forward line in particular, to lock that ball in. They had too much space on occasion through stoppages, and Then they across half back. We've mentioned Daniel Joseph a couple of times in the call, and he was able to hurt them by a foot. Gunther got his hands on the ball a little bit, and also Rainbird I thought was pretty prominent in the first quarter as well. And then the usual suspects in Mott had his hand on the footy. Webb was ever creative, and Mitch Walker lively, as we mentioned, with a couple of goals in that first quarter. Lauderdale, gee, really, Damo, it wasn't apart from the last goal to Cantilla that they really had any real dangerous ball movement. And they were able to catch Glenorchy a little bit off guard through a chain of handballs through the centre of the ground. But apart from that, it's been fairly laborious for the Lauderdale Footy Club in terms of the system, and been difficult for the forwards at the moment. Glenorchy have certainly put them under immense pressure, so they'll need to regroup. Maybe they'll spin the magnets a little bit halfway through this quarter if they haven't got the immediate response they're looking for. But it's certainly not out of contention yet, but it'll be a disappointing start for Clinton Brown, the Lauderdale Footy Club.
Disappointing start indeed. A great start to TSL life for Paul Kennedy. Glenorchy Magpies looking very, very sharp here on their home deck. We'll have a brief break now and be back with the second term. Stay with us here at KG5. The Magpies looking hot. So back for the second term here at KG5. Glenorchy in control. How do Lauderdale get back into this one, Cam Brown?
Well, one thing they do have is great versatility in their team. So, you know, whether or not you throw Alex Hill forward, or that could maybe be done halfway through the quarter, as we mentioned, if things weren't necessarily happening for them. We know that Ben McGuinness can go forward, Wiggins can go down back. So they do have versatility in their team. So they can certainly have a different look and feel about them. Actually, just as we say that, boys, I think Alex Hill has gone down to the forward line. Picked up by Harrison Gunther, so I quite like that move.
Now, big job ahead for the Bombers. They trail this one by 35 points at quarter time.
It's a big margin to reel in.
I like the look of the midfield at the moment, though, for Lauderdale, with McGuinness in there. You called for that early on in the first quarter, Damo. It's Josh McGuinness. Nat Franklin's in there.
Umpire holds the ball aloft. We're about to get underway in the second term here at KG5. 35-point advantage to the home team. But Lauderdale get it first through Franklin. Big torp inside 50, but the mark taken going back with the fight there was Stevenson. Kicks it further afield. Webster's there. Cooper behind him. And it's gone out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
A good mark there from the first gamer in Jack Stevenson.
Very nice.
Pretty sure his dad, Craig, played at New Norfolk in the old statewide league days in the 90s.
Yep, very good. We wait the throw in. And it comes Smith and Duffy go at it again, as they have done throughout the game this afternoon. Ball spills to ground. And it looks like it won't come out. Or it does. At the back door. Webb has it, the skipper. Wheels around. Kicks it up to the wing. Walker's there lurking, but a good mark by Ed Stanley. He plays on, wants to play on pretty quickly here, and does. He booms it back inside to attack. Oh, the fly was there from the Magpies, but Gunther gets it out of danger. Mark taken by Smith. Oh, it wasn't in the end. He didn't hang on to it. Webster, boot to ball. Only as far as the Lauderdale player, though. And now it's all wrapped up. And we'll have a ball. Holding the ball. So holding the ball.
He's a bit stiff there. He had one arm pinned. I don't know how he could have got rid of it, Bell Chambers.
So it's the skipper, Braden Webb. Another disposal for him. And big, nice, strong mark taken right in front of us here through Cam Duffy. Here's Arnold. He drives it inside, but Lauderdale couldn't take the mark. Bowden. And now Webb gets it away. And now the Magpies have a shot on goal through Millhouse. But it's off to the left for a minor score.
Just caught on his non-preferred side there, Joel Millhouse. Played some good senior footy last year for Glenorchy. Just a youngster.
So a little kick out, finds Mosquito. He brings it beyond the arc. Taken by McManus on the outer side. A bit of the footy. McManus on his return to the lineup.
Kick the torp, boys.
He's tried the barrel. He's got a hold of it too, almost for Hill. Tipped over the back. And it's a foot race, but the boundary line beats everyone.
Gained some metres there, didn't they?
The old-fashioned barrel, I love it. So it'll be thrown in. Yeah, serious yardage gain there from Lauderdale. Be happy to see it in their half. Glenorchy being dominant, particularly around the ball. Their on-ball brigade has been exceptional. So Smith and Duffy to collide in the ruck. Duffy in best position. It's a short old throw-in. We'll have to have another crack at that one, boundary umpire. No major breeze to speak of, is there, lads?
I don't think so.
The trees over the other side of the ground shows there could be a little bit out there, but nothing too major, you wouldn't have thought.
So ruck contest is a halved one. Franklin tries to get it through traffic. Bustling in was Rainbird. He's wrapped up. And it'll be another stoppage. The outer wing here at KG5. First home game for the season. First game for the season for the Glenorchy Magpies, and started well. So thrown in. Duffy in best position. Drops it off. It's a nice one for Mott. He throws it on the right peg. Looking for Bowden. Why not when he takes them like that? Hands it off. So the running Webb. Powers inside 50. Walker.
Free kick.
Climbing all over him was Ben McGuinness, and it'll be a free kick.
It was a good play from Walker. He pushed hard then back into his opponent. Able to win a free kick. Difficult angle here, though, it's got to be said.
He's an exciting prospect, isn't he, Walker?
He's athletic and can certainly run and jump at the footy. You saw he's quite capable at ground level. We saw him with a lovely snap across the body early in the first quarter. This will test him, though. Distance
shouldn't be a problem. The angle is what is
no,
the big ask of him. Didn't test him at all. Puts it through the middle. Mitch Walker, he's third for the game. And Glenorchy starting the second term on fire.
Well, he spent some time, I think, in the off-season over in Victoria before making his way back to Hobart in the off-season, and there was talk about who he might play with, whether or not he'd come back to the Tigers in the end. Settled on making the move back to his junior club in Glenorchy, and he's been lively. That's his third already, and causing some headaches there. Feature of his game today has been his kicking, Breno.
It's been such a fortress, this place at KG5. Didn't go that way so much last year, but we know Glenorchy had an extended streak of wins here over that dominant era of 2015-16. And that trend looks like it may continue this season after this unbelievable start this afternoon. Bell Chambers got a little caught with it. McGuinness wrapped up, dropped the ball. Umpire said play on. And taken high there, so free kick going to Reece Mott. Mott goes short. Finds his teammate in Roberts.
It's only light, young Roberts, the first gamer.
He pumps it forward. Anybody home? There is. They couldn't hang on to it though. Bell Chambers is there to collect for the Bombers, but he's dragged down in a big James Webb tackle. And the umpire will ball this one up. So 8-4-52 plays 1-4-10. A 42-point advantage to the home team as Smith taps it down. Again, wrapped up. Umpire lets it go for a little while, but again, we'll ball it up. Bit of a family day here at KG5 this afternoon. Nice old crowd in camp.
Yeah, solid crowd. First game of the year we mentioned at KG5 for Glenorchy Footy Club.
Duffy from behind that occasion. Wasn't Duffy actually. Change of ruckman. And now here's Webster. Goes through everyone. Gets the handball away. Rainbird now. It's a little kick forward. Oh, it could be a free kick there against Mosquito. It is.
Young Bierman again.
It's been good early. Bierman kicked that opening quarter goal. He goes left to Mott. Mott trying to find an option. He finds one over the back. It's Walker again, who's been so busy in this match. Gets the footy back again. Backwards to Joseph. He gets it further forward. And now the Pies are away here. Almost was collected there, but inside 50 now. Top of the square. Rainbird from behind. Umpire's called a free kick here. Not going to let the advantage go. It'll come back. And we'll have a shot on goal here from about 20 metres out.
It's Jay Bowden, I believe.
I think it was young Jack Stevenson there with the inside 50 for the Pies. Another one of the debutants for Glenorchy. We've mentioned them throughout the call. 3 today for them.
So Jay Bowden, who's won the TSL's goal kicking award on many occasions. He's won the league best and fairest 3 times. He's an absolute star in Glenorchy. You'll be rapt to have him back for the entire season. He lines up. Should make no mistake from here and does not. And Glenorchy up and about in quarter number 2 of this round 2 TSL clash.
I thought the early signs of this quarter were pretty good from Lauderdale. They were able to get their hands on the footy and they just looked like they had a little bit more intent, but unfortunately for them, Glenorchy have been able to get their hands on the footy and punish them with a couple of goals.
So Glenorchy well and truly in control of this contest. Back in the middle again, and that's where they've done a bulk of their damage. Parker to ruck this time, up against Smith. Bounce favours Parker. He puts it straight out in front of Braden Webb. A high booming boot looking for Jay Bowden. Fresh after kicking a goal. Gunther can't get control of it, so he wraps up a bomber and a tackle. There'll be a stoppage inside 50 for the Magpies.
Still a lot of footy to go in this one, but from memory last year, boys, Lauderdale was slow out of the blocks. I think they lost the first 3 in 2017, did they not?
They certainly did.
Bustling through the pack was Webb. He couldn't get it moving Glenorchy's way. Mott now on hands and knees. Couple of Bombers right in.
Just look very organised, don't they, Glenorchy? Lots of people barking instructions. Can see Daniel Joseph motioning to have different players set up behind the footy.
So up again. Smith paddles down. Going nowhere again in congestion. Webb tries to get it on the boot. He can't. It's just rolling maul here at the moment. Another ball up. One thing about Paul Kennedy over the off-season, he's talked a lot about his leaders and how much faith he has in them. And
player empowerment, Damo.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that, and you see that leadership on the field right now. It's McGuinness, toes at Lauderdale's way. Quinn runs over it. It's handed out by Kiranaya. And then steered in front of McManus by Heavey. McManus does well. We're racing through. Geez, look at the wheels there by Cooper on debut. But it's Webster who controls the ball. It's a tough little kick to gather in the middle. Daly eventually emerges with it. Hands it over the top. It falls for Gunther. His handball doesn't find its target. Ben McGuinness chops it out and then to Heavey. McGuinness again picks it up, finds Mosquito, whacks it on the boot, bouncing through, and it's gathered by Millhouse. A long high ball inside 50. Gunther sets himself, doesn't take the grab. Bowden gets it out. Finds Camrick. Camrick to the square. Walker has a couple of bites of the cherry. He was legged.
Free kick, number 4.
And he will line up for his 4th goal of the day. Mitch Walker causing headaches inside 50 for Lauderdale.
Well, that's a kick that's actually worried Lauderdale throughout this game, that deep inside 50 entry. And Glenorchy, if they haven't marked it, they've been able to bring it to ground. They've been the benefactors of some free kicks at times as Walker lines up for his 4th.
A studded approach. Has no impact on the kick. Straight through the hey diddle diddle. And that's the 10th for Glenorchy and the 4th for Mitch Walker, who is finding life in black and white. Very, very nice.
So this one's out to 9 goals now. 14 scoring shots to 5. And Lauderdale don't really look like it at the moment. A couple of players that were prominent for them last week, boys, haven't been able to get involved on the scoreboard. Young Hooker was good last week. They're leading goal kicker with 4, but unfortunately hasn't had many opportunities today.
Back underway in the middle. Duffy collects the footy back, trying to get the boot to ball. Didn't quite happen for him. Now Nat Franklin tunnels it through to Stanley, who gets it inside 50. A rare inside 50 for the Bombers. Was Hooker dealt with? He wasn't. Picked up now. Back to Hooker. And now Hooker again. He's done it all down there. He boots it towards goal and dribbles over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in. Slightly around from Lauderdale's goal. So an electric start here to this game.
Just got to score here, don't they, from this boundary throw-in.
So in it comes again. Alex Hill into the ruck for Lauderdale. Gets the footy out, Hill. It ends up with the Magpies. They boot it only to as far as Franklin, who goes backwards. And now inside 50 again for the Bombers. It's a 2-on-1 contest. And the Magpies win it out. Webb now in the back pocket. So not his best kick it out in the full. So Lauderdale have a chance again to go into attack. 12, almost 30 minutes gone in this second term. View slightly obstructed here, so we can't quite see who's taking the kick. It's Franklin. He belts it inside. Hooker's there, couldn't take the mark. And the umpire's blown the whistle. Though free kick going the way of Glenorchy. So the Magpies have it. And Stevenson pushes it wide to the back pocket. Jay Bowden drives it long to the wing. Tried to find his skipper in Webb, but he's given away the free kick there, Braden Webb.
He just nudged his opponent underneath the footy, picked up by the umpire.
So Lauderdale go backwards here. And taken there by Casellas. And back again to McGuinness, who currently has one of the best haircuts in the TSL. It's a ripper. Alex Hill now, who's been everywhere today, up forward in the ruck. Played in the grand final last year, of course. So Sutton sells some candy, goes right inside the middle here at KG5. Mark taken by Hill, Ray Hill. Kick was a bit of a floater, ends up inside 50 though. Running onto it is McManus. Tried to get his own footy back, but a clever bit of play there by Reece Mott. And now Braden Webb delivers it further forward. Mark taken by Quinn. Not a lot doing for him at the moment. He decides to go long. And the big fly at the back there from Walker. Lauderdale end up with the football though. Umpire's blowing the whistle for a throw there. So the kick coming back and going to the Glenorchy skipper, Braden Webb.
Scores elsewhere. We're looking at 3 one-sided contests at this point in time, fellas. 42-8 at Windsor Park. And the way of Launceston and North Launceston 49-6. UTES Stadium as the ball comes inside 50. Off hands. Lauderdale will try and run it out. Paddling to himself was Raglione. Slaps it on the boot. Boundary line the Sanctuary, but there's no one around, so everyone looks at the umpire, but he says throw it on in.
Well, there wasn't a Lauderdale player for him to kick to, was there? So would have potentially been a hard call there on Raglione, ex-Clarence player.
So it'll be thrown in again. Duffy to battle away with Smith, who's had his hands full. Duffy, good tap ruckman. Gets a good piece of this one. Josh McGuinness sees off one. It comes back. Finds Kennedy. A nice kick. Finds its way into the arms of Bill Chambers. He spins and moves and finds Hooker presenting well. This is better for Lauderdale. On the left boot of Hooker. Looking long inside 50. It's seen out of play. Good defensive work by Glenorchy coming across to help each other out. On that occasion it was young Stevenson. Be thrown in again.
Not only do they miss the inside grunt of players like Boscott and Walsh, but they're also midfielders that could push forward and kick goals, boys.
Absolutely. Duffy, with the slightest of hit-outs, is picked up by Josh McGuinness. A tumbling ball forward should be dealt with. It's paddled away, and now Jay Bowden races away out of defence. A kick in front of Braden Webb. He'll have time to gather. Looks to get by one in Sutton, just muscles in the side.
Good tackle.
But he kept on going there, Sutton. Didn't give up the ghost and gets his kick as a result. Inside for McManus. Looking for Heavey, today's skipper. It's a juggling mark by Jay Bowden. He just floats where he wants to, doesn't he, Jay Bowden?
Like James Hurd, wasn't it, in his heyday? Just can go back behind the footy if need, push forward, win it in the midfield.
Finds Braden Webb. Another one, spent a bit of time forward. Inside, it's a good kick for his brother. Really emerged last year. James Webb. A long high kick on the outer wing. Looking for Duffy. Smith gets hands to it. Duffy tries to pick up the crumb. He's slung to the ground. It'll be a ball up.
54-point advantage to Glenorchy. There's Scott Hill, you see on crutches, leaving the ground. So that's disappointing news for Lauderdale. As the ball trickles out of bounds for a boundary throw in. Far side of the ground here at KG5 as we approach time on. In quarter number 2, it is all Glenorchy at this stage of the game. Just the one goal to Lauderdale. We wait the ball to come back in. In it comes. Duffy, Smith again. Big tackle there by Gunther. It's on top of his opponent. We'll have another ball up. Brandy, what do you expect out of Glenorchy this year? That obviously still got a very, very good list and dropped off the pace a little bit last year, but can you see them having an impact among the contenders?
Well, it certainly looked good today, Breno, and a lot of talk. Launceston and North Launceston being potentially the two standout teams in the competition, notwithstanding North Launceston gave Lonnie a bit of a touch-up, but when you factor in some of the best juniors from the Mariners program are from the northern end of the state, and they'll go back and potentially, well, they won't potentially, they will strengthen Launceston and North Launceston, so it's going to make it potentially pretty hard for the southern teams, but on what we've seen today, Glenorchy certainly look a really organised outfit at the moment.
They do indeed. So we await again the ball to come back into play. And big punch away from both players there. McManus chases the footy, he collects, tucks it under the arm, but gets wrapped up by Gunther.
He's one that has tried, Robbie McManus, certainly to get his hands on the footy and lift his team. They're just lacking some spark at the moment. Let's see Ryan Wiggins back onto the ground now and pushing deep full forward on Josh Grant. Just hasn't been able to get his hands on the footy today, Wiggins.
And it comes again. Smith and Duffy. And now here's Sutton. He gets dragged down. Mott, Rainbird, gets it inside 50 for the Pies. Oh, Jay Bowden.
Probably hands in the back. No?
Party trick.
There you go. Absolutely fair enough. Great mark from Jay. And he'll go back now and have a shot for number 3, Cameron. Am I right by
Yeah,
saying?
be going for his third. And isn't he a dangerous player, one-on-one inside that forward 50? Because he can mark it overhead, can nudge his opponent under the footy, or he can find his way to the front of a contest, and he's so deadly at ground level. He's a nightmare matchup, isn't he? Anywhere on the ground, particularly inside that forward 50, working about 20 metres out from goal.
This to make it 60 points, if you don't mind. But unfortunately for the Magpies, it is offline. Very unlike Jay Budd.
That's really awkward.
I chalked it down.
I'd written it down as well.
I'm prepared to roll with it and back him in to kick another one in the next 70 minutes of footy day, Domo.
You wouldn't waste too much white out, would you, if you had to go back and fix your mistakes from Jay Bowden, jotting him down for a goal?
He doesn't miss those ones too often,
No.
Bruno.
Not at all.
So the ball to be thrown in here, outer wing, approaching, attacking 50 for the Magpies. Well in control of this contest. Smith gets this one. Holding towards Kiranaya. Can't pick it up as Camrick first to it. Kicks inside 50. Gathering was Arnold. He's wrapped in a heavy tackle, going nowhere. Ball up.
Josh Williams is another player, Damo. We know he's got really good speed, but just hasn't been able to get his hands on the footy for Lauderdale and break open the lines.
Duffy and Smith. Smith with the hit out. Looking for Kiranaya. Comes out the back for Heavey. He goes inside. Looking for Bell Chambers. Doesn't take the grab, but good enough at ground level and bursts away. Bell Chambers is a powerful man. Comes to Wiggins. Hands off for McGuinness. A little nudgy ball inside. Might work out okay over the top for Mosquito. Running into goal. Mosquito! Kicks a goal for Lauderdale. And they'll be hoping that's a fire starter.
Well, they look lively then, and Cantilla with a nicely weighted handball. We saw him with some assists down at Clarence last week, so something normally happens when the footy's in his hands, and he was just able to pop it over to Mosquito, who's had a very decorated career at Northern Territory, Damo, and I think was the MVP up there last year in that competition, and was able to push forward and kick a goal. McGuinness also involved in the build-up. Gee, it's a badly needed goal for Lauderdale. Just their second for this game, Bruno.
Yeah, 59-point buffer. Big move for these Indigenous boys to come down and pack up their lives and move to Tasmania. So, it's holding the ball.
Good, just little signs here.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
Lauderdale.
About to say that, Ken.
And Josh McGuinness is a big part of it.
Yep.
Absolutely. He throws it on the boot, Joshy McGuinness. Another inside 50. It's over the back. Wiggins couldn't collect the footy. He goes for it again, though. Does on the second occasion. Taps it forward.
Oh.
Could have been in the backhand, but umpire
it
let
was.
it go. Rainbird now. He has some time and spots up Bierman. He goes wide to Arnold. He's got plenty of time. Gets it further afield to Webster. Former Hawthorn draftee, of course, Zach Webster. Gets it towards Jay Bowden. Webster again. He tucks the footy away and runs and kicks it inside 50. And the mark couldn't be taken. It's collected though. But Lauderdale turn the footy over. Glenorchy get it back. The umpire will have it. And a ball up will take place just outside of Glenorchy's attacking zone. Bit of niggle there. As we go again. Duffy from behind. And now Mott throws it on the boots. It's offline, minus score. So we're into time on now. 24 minutes gone in this second quarter. And it's a 50-point lead to the Magpies, Damien Gill.
Hill to himself and then long outside of defensive 50. It's a high ball. No one was taking that one. Off hands, it's all Glenorchy. Inside 50, Webster jumps for it. It's picked up by Mosquito, but it's to the opposition in Webb. He turns, he fires, and he sinks another. Glenorchy with their 11th. Braden Webb leading from the front. And they are fearsome today, Cam Brown.
Yeah, he's been a terrific player over a long period of time at statewide league level. You know, his father was a William Leach medalist, Ricky Hanlon, and really smart goal there. Made out of nothing, really, just a fortuitous handball which came his way and just found some time and space and kick across the body. And a dangerous player, whether or not he's forward, because he is so creative by hand and foot. A terrific leader for the footy club, and just when we thought Lauderdale was starting to get back into the game a little bit and have some good moments, another dagger in the heart there from Glenorchy.
So Mitch Walker into the ruck for the Magpies. As the ball goes to ground. Here's Nat Franklin, star of the competition, of course. Still with the Bombers. McManus gets the high handball. Webb's there for the Pies. No one's bought the minute. Daly, Franklin coming through, but Bellchambers wins out in the end, and now the Bombers are away. Real clever stuff there from Mosquito, and now McGuinness pumps it inside. Mark couldn't be taken, and it goes over the top of everyone for a boundary throw-in. Right in the forward pocket for the Bombers. Control this one by 56 points as we approach half-time, round 2 TSL. Two other games on this afternoon. Up north in Launceston, Tigers and the Bombers, and the Blues and the Demons. So we're in front of Lauderdale's attacking zone here. Quinn for Glenorchy gets it away cleverly. And now Salter gets it forward to Camerick. He managed to get the quick handball away back to Salter. And now the Pies are out of danger. Geard takes the mark. No, he doesn't. Play on, said the umpire. Still going okay here, though,
well done,
the
Salter.
Pies. And now Millhouse. But it's turned over by the Bombers. And a mark taken there by McManus, who plays on really quickly. Drives it long. Mark couldn't be taken. Big punch from behind there by the Pies. And now they're out of trouble again, Glenorchy. Mark couldn't be taken. Right in front of us here in the commentary box. Another chance for the Bombers. They go through Raglione inside. And now Sutton does a little dance. Throws on the left. It's a little too far to the right, though. And a minus score.
She's a good kick from Raglione, and unfortunately Sutton was it there, Breno, that couldn't finish. Did have a player over the top of the goal square.
I'll just skip around the grounds quickly, shall I? Half time at UTAS. Northern Bombers well in control. 55-13 there. And 55-15 over at Windsor Park. So the two Lonnie teams proving to be the powerhouses everyone suspects as they make their way out of defence now.
Great tackle.
It is a fantastic tackle, but not rewarded. Over the top from Webb. He finds Duffy. The ruckman's been super today. Presented well. A little kick finds Rainbird. He was busy early. That is an interesting bit of work off the boot. A real grubber. It's picked up by Lauderdale. They'll make their way out of defence through a web of handballs. Bellchambers on the end of it. Finds Hill. And then to Hooker. Hooker a long way from home. The siren beats his forward entry. And draws a close to a dominant first half from the Glenorchy Magpies. They are on fire here and really looking like they might be, if not the best team in the south of the state. one of them, that's for sure. If it's either them or Clarence, I think the way they've started, a really hot start to their TSL season, on fire here. Take us through the goal kickers if you can, Breno.
Certainly can. Damo, Jay Bowden has the two. I was about to read three, Cam. We haven't crossed it out very well at all. Four to Mitch Walker, which has been the story. What a fantastic debut he's had for the Magpies. And singles to Brady Quinn, Callan Daly, Harrison Gunther, Braden Webb, the skipper, and Jai Bierman in his first game. And then for Lauderdale, just the two goal kickers for the game. Tim Mosquito, of course, and Kim Cantilla. So a lot of work to do for the Bombers heading into the second half. 17 shots to 7, 11-6, 72 Glenorchy, Lauderdale 2-5, 17.
It was a 3-goal-to-1 quarter in favour of the Magpies. Lauderdale's efforts certainly were better, and defensively I thought they certainly put more pressure on their Glenorchy opponents, and some of their tackling was a feature, but unfortunately they weren't able to do any damage at all on the scoreboard, with Glenorchy outscoring them. You mentioned Mitch Walker before, Breno, with 4 goals. They just looked very organised behind the footy, Glenorchy. Their midfield's on top. Their forward line looks dangerous, and they have a luxury of rolling different players through the midfield. They can push them forward, and I'm speaking of players like Daly, who's had some good moments. Braden Webb has been able to push forward. Jay Bowden, we know, does that most weeks. Reece Mott's got his hand on the footy. Rainbird's been busy, particularly in that first quarter. And Zach Webster's had some nice moments as well for the Glenorchy Footy Club. So they certainly have all the answers with a 55-point lead. Not sure, Damo, how Lauderdale get back into this one. They did try and spin the magnets a little bit in that quarter just to try and generate something. Their key forwards haven't been able to have any influence at all in Wiggins and Hooker. Having said that, they haven't had the best delivery and haven't had particularly fast ball movement coming inside the forward 50. So they'll regroup. They'll have another crack at it at half time, but certainly need to get their hands on the footy and try and have a good account of themselves. The game looks beyond them at half time, but certainly plenty of players to come back for Lauderdale in the next few weeks. So they'll certainly be strengthened there, but they'll find out a little bit about their squad in the next hour.
They will indeed. It might be time to shuffle those magnets and try a few things for Coach Clint Brown, but they're well adrift here at half-time. Stay with us for the second half of action here at KG5. Glenorchy looking very, very strong. So back for the second half here at KG5. Glenorchy dominant in this one. 11 goals, 672. All over Lauderdale, 2 goals, 5-17. Cam Brown, what did Lauderdale do? And what do you think Clint Brown said in the sheds at half-time to try and get back into this contest?
Glenorchy have just been really organised, haven't they? Particularly defensively behind the footy, so it's made it really difficult for Lauderdale. They've only had a couple of real moments of and passages of a play where they've been able to transition the ball from the back half inside the forward 50 and look dangerous and try and score. So definitely their ball movement was something they need to address, and to do that, obviously the contested footy is something that they're clearly lacking. A number of outs, and we mentioned pre-game Damo, Clevercamp and Fife, 2 that have gone out of the organisation for 2018, and Boscott and Walsh not here, and then a couple of their prime movers probably down as well today. They've lost Hill, so they're a rotation down, so they're going to have to stick fat in this second half. And really, they probably need to lift some of the Indigenous boys too. Probably haven't quite got their hands on the footy as much as they would like. They haven't been able to really mark anything inside that forward 50. But having said that, the delivery hasn't been flash either, so plenty to work on in the second half of the Lauderdale Footy Club. And Glenorchy, I guess, they won't want to be resting on their laurels. They've had a fantastic first half of footy, 11 goals. They'd be wrapped with that. I think it was 3 goals in that quarter to 1 for Lauderdale. So certainly an opportunity for them to put their foot on the accelerator and run away with this, and potentially have an 80 or 90 point win. But I don't think anyone, bar Glenorchy supporters, wants to see that today, Domo. We'd love to see Lauderdale really respond in this second half.
One name you didn't mention there is Wish Wilson, who is out for the year with an ACL. He also hurts their setup and limits their ability to throw around a Ben McGuinness and an Alex Hill. And that really limits what they can do in the forward half. But for the bulk of this game, their trouble has been getting it there. They've been smashed around the ball. Glenorchy have some real prime movers that have looked exceptional in their first outing for 2018. So that's where Lauderdale have to have an impact in this second half at the coalface and start winning the footy. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it is, and we've mentioned a few times that they do, both teams actually, a feature of their squads is their ability to throw the magnets and obviously put different players in different positions. So the versatility and able to have multiple options per player is a key feature for them, and they'll need that, particularly from a Lauderdale perspective today, because the front half probably hasn't really looked like it for them. They have had some changes though throughout this game, but as players make their way back, Lauderdale and their leaders at the moment having a good conversation to the left of screen. All the boys arm in arm, as tends to be the way, Breno, before we move off into their respective positions.
Well, that's what we did before the broadcast today, didn't we?
Yes.
Huddle and...
Yeah, well, we looked at you a little bit strangely, but you insisted on it.
Interesting from you there, Breno, is Paul Kennedy just makes his way to the coaching box. Geez, what an impact first up. He looks like he's got them well drilled. They seem to know their roles. They've been able to mix them up between forward, half back, and midfield, some of those prime movers, and the inclusion of Mitch Walker's been a telling one, and some of those youngsters have had an impact as well.
I was going to say they've been really good, the kids, and 3 debutants today, and they've all had different moments on and off the ball where they've worked very, very hard for their team, and they've certainly been buoyed by their performances. I think the Glenorchy hierarchy today of those 3 teenagers.
So ball back in the middle, Lauderdale with some work to do.
Just trying to think of, as we look down and see if there's any major changes to the lineup, and
we've probably got
I think McGuinness is going down forward, yep. Ben, and I think that's a timely move, because
we saw what he did last year, didn't we, in that final? It was fantastic.
Yep, and Walker had some good moments on him, so probably weren't losing anything by pushing him forward. And like maybe he can be the spark, boys. I like the move.
And Josh McGuinness in the middle. So Smith and Duffy. Halved. It's won by Bell Chambers. He gets it off to Smith. It's there for McManus. Not his best kick. Running over it was Williams. Running out of half back now, the Pies. A handball over the top. Rainbird tracks it down, drops it off. Now with Mott. The outside finds Arnold. He's got time to assess his options. Looks long and finds Bowden. Fantastic use by foot. calls for the protected zone, doesn't get the kick, falls short of Webb, the James variety. They try and pick it up. McManus, it's won by Webster, hands over the top, running into goal is the youngster. It's Behrman again, isn't it?
Yep.
It is. On the board again, Jai Behrman, a real youngster, and having a good contribution in his first outing in black and white.
Well, that's his second. He's got good pace, isn't he? And he's a typical small forward and gets front and centre and gets in some nice positions. And he'll certainly be wrapped with his debut. The boy from New Norfolk, we mentioned he's in the the 30-man squad for state under 16 level 2, Breno. So a really bright future for him.
Yes, born on the 8th of August 2002, Jai Behrman. So what a debut for him. 2 goals in this game. Duffy wins out on this occasion. All Glenorchy at the moment. One-way traffic. Mott throws it on the boot. Lands just outside 50. And now here is Rainbird. He lines up just inside the paint and goes bang. And it's only the third quarter, but it's party time for the Magpies.
Yeah, that's 8 goal kickers already they've had in this game, and Mitch Rainbird was able to find some space. And he's probably more a midfielder these days, boys, isn't he? And in the past, he's certainly played up forward and played at Mariners level as well, and on multiple roles. I think he was a top age player in 1 year of his Mariners as well. And he's been very solid today, particularly in the first quarter, and was able to kick through Glenorchy's 13. Gee, not the start Lauderdale wanted, with Glenorchy getting a couple of goals inside the first minutes of this third quarter.
You're right, Cam Brown. Worst possible start. What can they manufacture here? Mott thrown without it. He'll get a free kick. Big Ruckman Smith. Maybe wasn't aware that Mott didn't have the footy on that one, in fairness to him.
He's a very consistent player now, Reece Mott, isn't he, Damo? You can chalk him down for 25 plus most weeks.
And he's usually laser-like with foot. This one is a high ball inside 50. McManus gathers as Lauderdale try and scurry it out of defence. Here's McGuinness with the Josh variety. Just a little kick over the top. Finds Kerenea. Wiggins can't reel it in. Comes to Kerenea again. Looks inside. This will last plenty of bell chambers.
A free kick.
Just jumped all over his opponent, who was Braden Webb. He'll have a free kick. The skipper. That's not his best kick. Finds Franklin of the opposition. Drops it off for Raglione. Inside 50. Nobody home in red and black. It's Gunther on his own. He can just paddle it along. Time on his side. Goes long. That's a shocker of a kick. We're seeing some poor use here in the third quarter. Raglione inside 50. Was their hands in the back? No, says the umpire. There was a free kick there, though.
Clumsy there from Ben McGuinness, and it's going to be a 50-metre penalty as well.
So 50. Ben McGuinness, his first involvement really inside forward 50. Not his best at all. It'll be a free kick.
Talk about consistent players at this level. The ball, the foot in his hands, been a great stalwart for Glenorchy.
That's Arnold. Looks long and looks for Jay Bowden, who doesn't drop those ones. Takes it with outstretched arms. Powers it inside 50. Leading to the ball was Mosquito, but it's come out the back. And it's that man again, Cam Brown.
Well, he showed a lot of it, almost belied his years there. It was almost looked like an experienced player, the way he nudged his opponent under the footy, and really smart forward craft. He gets a good look at his third goal. Many 15-year-olds have debuted for Glenorchy. I almost go back to Andy Lovell.
There we go. Behrman having an impact too. Wanders on in. Accuracy, the question. No question at all, because he puts it through. 3 goals. What a debut for Behrman. Having a real impact. Glenorchy storm on again here. This is getting ugly.
Yeah, well, it is. They've already kicked the first 3 of this quarter, and I think Webb kicked one late in the second quarter from memory, Breno, so it's probably 4 or 5 on the trot here from the Pies, and this one's out to a 67-point lead for the home side. Just look bereft of ideas at the moment, Lauderdale. Certainly undermanned, it's got to be said.
Yeah, that's it. And Glenorchy not missing too many off the top of the head, so certainly hurting the Bombers this afternoon. There's no doubt about that.
Actually, 73 points, sorry.
73. A good mark taken there. as the Bombers go forward again, but only as far as Mitch Rainbird, who throws it on the boot, but that goes only as far as Nat Franklin. So the Bombers have it now through Heavey, who's the captain today and will be for the next few months, as Bryce Walsh is on the sidelines through injury. Robbie McManus, as we know, a long-time servant of the Lauderdale Footy Club. Raglione takes the mark inside the centre square. He pumps it long over the head of Wiggins and ends up with the Magpies. Here's Jay Bowden. Gets wrapped up, but gets the handball away in time. And now Stevenson gets the footy away. Magpies bring it up the wing through Camrick. And a great mark again taken by Bierman. Throws it on the boot. Daly, great mark. Plays on, goes short and finds his teammate. And that's a nice bit of play from Glenorchy as we see Harry Parker line up and kicking for goal, 35 metres out, slight angle.
It was brilliant ball movement all the way on the wing on the far side for Glenorchy. And again, it was a couple of the kids involved. Jack Stevenson with some nice touches. And Jai Bierman with another great mark overhead.
So Harry Parker lines up. The kick's an awkward looking one, but it doesn't matter because it's split the middle and Glenorchy have their 15th goal of the game. 15-6, 96, Lauderdale 2-5-17.
Well, Parker's been with them now for a few years since coming across from Brighton. He's another guy that can play back or forward. And 15 goals now for Glenorchy. This is getting really ugly for Lauderdale, and we have mentioned throughout the call they have had some players out, but still they'd be very, very disappointed, I would have thought, with the first hour and a bit of footy for them in round 2 this year, because they certainly aren't a team that should be beaten by this potential margin at the moment, Damo. They really need to respond here.
Big match up next week. Just looking at the schedule, Glenorchy in this sort of form might just test North Launceston as it's long off the boot of Bowden. Looking for Rainbird. Bounces off his chest to the runner Daly. Will he eye goal? He's got an option in Mott. Instead goes to the sticks. And why not when you can kick him like that? The pocket rocket on the board. And Glenorchy are just looking a class above today.
Well, he had all the time in the world, it seemed there. It looked like he was potentially cornering his wrong side. He was waiting for someone to handball off to on the overlap, and everyone sort of run past him, and then he just had the presence of mind to lay the kick almost across the body there and put it through for another one. Gee, it's disappointing at the moment for Lauderdale. Glenorchy just look dangerous every time they've got their hands in the footy, and every time the ball goes inside the forward 50, Breno, they look like scoring.
Exciting to watch the Magpies in full flight, that is for sure. 2016 premiers of this competition, of course. So down year last year, but they're certainly showing their best form this afternoon in round 1, or round 2, if you don't mind. Their first game of the year. Zach Webster boots it along the ground. Here's Daly again. He's been busy. Does well. Camrick inside 50. Chance now again for Parker. Ball goes further forward. He tries to do it and keep it in play. It does stay in play, the footy. Hill out of defence for the Bombers. Only again as far as Camrick, but Jay Bowden ends up with the footy. Camrick again. What can he do? He puts it on the boot. It's a high ball and good mark taken by Alex Hill.
Just noticed Ben McGuinness in the middle.
And now here's Stanley for Lauderdale, part of that grand final team last year as well. The kick wasn't his best. Here's Webster. Tucks the footy under his arm, dodges a few. The kick wasn't his best either. It's managed to work okay, though. And now here's a chance for the Pies again. Couldn't hang on to it. And now McManus. Handball's over the top.
Oh, nice.
Very nicely done. Oh, intercepted, though, by Webster. Bombers good enough to get it back, though. And McManus throws it to Torp.
Again.
Big Torp.
Got to talk.
Here's Gunther. Joseph wrapped up, but gets a nice handball over the top. And that is out on the full, unfortunately, for the Magpies through Millhouse. So Lauderdale a chance to reset.
85-point margin at the moment, boys.
Yeah, the scoreboard is not pretty reading if you are a fan of the red and black. There's no doubt about that. So waiting for the restart here. Here comes another Torp. Torping everything at the moment, the Bombers. Here's Geared. Arnold controls the footy. But now Bell Chambers turns it over. Here's Mosquito. Can he put the afterburners on? He has 2 bounces. Loads up on the right and goes bang. And maybe that's the spark that the Bombers needed to get back in this game.
Well, Glenorchy have been so organised and set up behind the footy defensively that they've allowed Lauderdale very little space, and that's one of the few occasions that they've been able to break inside 50 with a bit of space, and it was in the right hands there, Mosquito. He looked across a couple of times to see if there was anything in board. A couple of bounces and a really classy finish. Badly needed goal. Major understatement there for Lauderdale, just their third, and Mosquito's second.
Another 13 like that would be handy.
Yes.
Still got a lot of work to do. Some fresh faces in the middle. I don't mind this from Clint Brown, though. Not leaving it up to chance in the ruck is Ben McGuinness. He wins the tap well. Comes to Bell Chambers, bursting away. Throws it on the boot, looking for Hooker. Slapped out of his hands. Here's Mosquito, inside forward 50 now. Trying to pick it up. He can't. It's gathered by the opposition through Geard. He drops it off. Finds Duffy. Off the boot of Stevenson. The youngster gets it on to the far side. It's Quinn now. Steadies. Goes backwards. Into the arms of Joseph. Joseph looks to switch it. Oh, it's a scary looking kick. It came out not too bad in the finish. They race away now through hands. It's from Arnold to Mott. Mott inside 50. Walker. He misjudges that one, and Raglione takes the grab. Away now, Lauderdale. McGuinness of the Josh variety lets it hang. Walker should take the grab. Didn't look confident, and it showed with his marking effort. He's mopped up by McGuinness. Then to Bell Chambers, then to Stanley. A little one looking for Mosquito. Doesn't find him. They'll get it out of defence now. Kicking out was Joseph, sorry. Then comes to Webb. Handballs to Camerick. Off to a running James Webb. He puts on the burners and a little kick for Mitch Walker.
Kick. Great kick.
That was just sharp end-to-end stuff there.
He just had to hold the mark there, Hooker, didn't he? That's got to be his bread and butter. And unfortunately, right in front of us, Mr. Mark he should have taken, and Glenorchy whipped the ball up the other side of the ground. It's always been a key feature of their footy for a number of years now, their foot skills. And we saw it on show there, Walker lining up for his fifth. I reckon this would be a career high, would it not, at statewide league level?
I think he kicked a handful last year for the Tigers. He's got a handful now for the Magpies. He's looked very comfy in those black and white stripes.
Well, he's made the most of his opportunities. Don't recall him kicking a point this afternoon. That's his fifth goal, as we mentioned. And a good response from Glenorchy after the Mosquito goal for Lauderdale. But they just had too much room, didn't they, bursting through the middle of the ground, Breno?
So Glenorchy 17-6, 108. 85 points is the margin. Lauderdale 3-5, 23. Ugly reading if you're a Lauderdale fan. To restart in the middle. Duffy easily won that tap and all on his own. Now here's the skipper, Webb. It's a really high ball. Bowden.
Good call, Breno. He just had the run and jump at it, didn't he?
He did. So he'll go back, and distance won't be a problem for Jay here, Kent.
Sorry, Breno. He just had Millhouse free.
He'll go back and have a shot now. Jay Bowden. He's kicked two this afternoon, Cam, plus that one you wrote down that he missed.
Yep.
So we won't count that.
I sort of half rubbed it out.
He'll kick this one though, Brent.
Jay Bowden right on the paint of 50. It's off to the left. A big fly from Walker, but it is over for a minor score. So 86 points the margin now. Lauderdale to bring it back into play, and they add some respectability to this scoreboard before three-quarter time. It's a big long kick in from Stanley to a pack. Hooker is there. Tap down. Bell Chambers, but Braden Webb scoops it up. Here's Jay Bowden again. It's a clever kick to the top of the square. Walker's there, but Alex Hill goes back and takes the mark. Plays on to Raglione.
Been one of their better players, Hill, I reckon.
Definitely. So Raglione looking for an option. Mosquito is free, and that's who he uses. Not a lot else on offer for him. Sutton's there, providing a lead, and he uses him. So some tight defence here from the Magpies. Not a lot on offer at all. So he goes the short option to Josh McGuinness. And we said earlier, is back in for his first game this afternoon after missing through suspension. Oh, intercepted by Zach Webster. Plenty of options for him too. Could have used them, but decided to go back, and looks like he'll have a shot on goal. Almost directly in front. Will kick right
Maybe
on
a
the
fraction
paint.
too far
Brownie. He goes short. And the mark taken a little inside for the Magpies.
Parker, I think. Or was it Geared?
It's Geared. So Geared will go back now and have a shot just inside 50 to make this lead blowout. Almost pushing 100 points now, which is not what we thought coming here this afternoon. We thought we'd be in for possibly a 2 or 3 goal lead from whichever side was on top. But to push it out towards that 100 points, no one saw that coming. As Geared kicks, it's off the left for a minus score.
Damo, a player we haven't necessarily mentioned a lot during the call today in terms of possession-wise, but certainly done his job coming back into the Glenorchy side after a year or two away at Claremont is Josh Grant. He's always had a fantastic build, and he's got some great athletic traits, and he's spent a lot of time on Ryan Wiggins today.
Good call, Brownie. Ryan Wiggins hasn't really been able to have an impact, and Grant's a large part of that. It comes along looking for Ben McGuinness. It might have been hands in his back. But no, Mark paid. It's Salter. A shaky looking kick. Mosquito gets involved. Then comes to Franklin. Hands to Bell Chambers. Then to Heavey. Sutton running through. Hooker now. Over his head. He's got to track it down. He's in a foot race. And loses it. It's won by the Magpies, and they're away through Duffy on the outer wing. Long and strong over the top, looking for the skipper, Braden Webb. Beaten to it by Stanley. Then Smith. Then McManus inside for Franklin. They've got numbers here. If they can move it quickly. Heavey, indecision from him. He opts to go long to Ray Hill. Ray Hill has Mosquito over the top. He'll go longer for Ben McGuinness. A juggling grab. So that's better.
Yeah, that's what he can do, Ben McGuinness, hence the move forward. He's always had great courage in the air. And
Look at the haircut. Look at the haircut from Benny McGuinness.
He's been dubbed the flying mullet, and I don't mind it.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, you say extraordinary, I say terrible.
I say I wish I could do something like that.
Yeah, can't see that happening.
A decent wig shop will sort you out, Breno, as the flying mullet strolls on in and pops it through. So that's better for Lauderdale. Still a long way behind in this contest.
Well, he becomes just the third goal kicker for Lauderdale today, just their fourth of the match.
Yep, it's not pretty reading at all, but that does help. Late goal here. 17-8, 110, 4-5, 29. So 81 points is the lead here at KG5 Round 2 TSL. Hope you're enjoying the coverage wherever you're watching us today. Plenty of options to get us these days, live on Facebook, which is great to see as we restart in the middle. Here's Franklin, but as Rainbird beat him to it. Ball to ground. Umpire's blown the whistle and paid a free kick here, so it's going to Lauderdale.
Kerenaya underneath all that.
Mitch Rainbird having a bit to say to Nat Franklin there. So they're away again, Lauderdale. And here we go. Nice mark taken there by Mosquito. What's he got on offer? He goes short. Mark couldn't be taken. Kick along the ground to Joseph. He wheels around. And has Webb on, but can't quite get it. Hill missed out. Now here is Camrick. Ben Camrick gets a handball off to the running James Webb. He goes inside 50, one-on-one contest. What a fly! What a mark from Braden Webb. Wow.
It's terrific. Seemed to hang up there for an eternity.
Goodness.
He got it on the way down,
too
didn't he?
early. Yeah, it's not unlike Liam Pickett's mark in the grand final boys for the Bulldogs.
There's our first Western Bulldogs
I was going to say,
reference.
unlike
You've got to let me hang on to something
there.
at the moment.
We've had a Harrison Gunther and Western Bulldogs count on all day, Brownie. And there's our first. So Braden Webb, can he finish off after a wonderful mark, the Magpie skipper? He certainly can. It's all been Glenorchy today.
Oh, it was a good kick from Webb because he was held up a little bit in the centre of the ground because Glenorchy only had the one player pushing forward inside the forward 50, so that's why he waited. And it was a terrifically weighted kick for Braden Webb, who made it look pretty good as well with a great overhead mark and a nice finish. His second. And the Pies are leading them a merry dance. Gee, it's got all the makings of a 20-goal victory here at the moment for the Pies.
Crazy to think. So we're back in the middle. Ben McGuinness gets the hit out. Down for Franklin, won by Bill James. Now is with Ben McGuinness. He'll take a running bounce. He'll look to bring it home from the paint of 50. Not quite. Punched through by Gunther. Take the kick out quickly. And he looks to Joseph, and why not? He's been superb, Joseph, back in this Glenorchy outfit. Long kick down the line. The youngster flies. And Roberts, snared from him. Behrman looks to track it down, being great. Hands inside. Walker goes the handball, missed the ball. Casellas drops it off. Stanley, a little pokey kick is a shocker. It's gathered. Now with James Webb. He's under pressure from Casellas. Too much. He didn't have the footy. They try and track it down through Millhouse. Not quite. On hands and knees, James Webb. It's picked up by the youngster Stevenson. A high ball comes down with snow on it. Picked up by Jay Bowden. Drops it off for Daly. The little fella gets it to Camrick. He'll turn and burn. On the boot. Looking for Braden Webb. Geez, he's had a bit of the ball, Braden Webb. Inside 50. Doesn't opt to take the shot. Looks for a Rainbird. Right in the square. Off hands and through for a minor score.
So it's been a key feature of their forward 50 entries too, Damo. They be at this point in time be very easy to think of yourself selfishly and want to constantly have a shot at goal. But Glenorchy, a feature of their game, always looking for someone in a better spot.
Stanley guides it inside and finds Franklin, keen to get it moving. Finds McGuinness, who's kept trying all day. Off hands. Should be gathered by Walker. He runs over it. Tumbling in was Millhouse. Smith now. Sorry, it was Salter. Smith can't get it out of there. It'll be a ball up. Edge of the square. Broadcast wing.
Hey, boys, really well umpired game, I would have thought, today.
Yeah, certainly. Hard to argue with that, Cameron. This ball goes up again. Smith won it on that occasion for Lauderdale. Ball wrapped up. That'll be long left in this third quarter. The scoreboard here at KG5 reads 47 minutes 28 this quarter, which I don't think's right, Cam.
That'd be some sort of a record if it was.
Up it goes again. Now it's not gone too far. The umpire's
kicking in danger against Walker.
So Nat Franklin with a footy. Wants to get it going quickly. Does just that. Off to McManus. Drives it long. McGuinness lurking again of the Ben variety. Now Heavey gets boot to ball inside 50. Bouncing, only as far as Jay Bowden. It's over the back though. And now here's Wiggins. Can he get his first of the afternoon? He can. Ryan Wiggins adds some respectability to the scoreboard for the Bombers. That's their 5th of the day.
Well, an opportunistic goal there from the big fella, and he's always had good forward craft, but that's the first real opportunity he's had in this game, Damo, to find a bit of time and space. Hasn't had anything, very little opportunities in the air to take anything inside forward 50, and just found himself on the end of one there, and a nice neat snap across the body.
The lack of celebration said it all, I think. Dirty day for the Bombers.
Still a quarter to go too, which is the scary part.
That is very scary indeed. Smith and Duffy back in the middle. Good bounce. Favours Smith. Taps it over the top. Should be Franklin that takes this one. Behrman shields the ball. Comes off to Duffy on the run. Has a decent piece of it off the boot. Will it find its way through? It has a bouncing goal. A running goal from the ruckman. You don't see them often. Well done, Cam Duffy. And if it wasn't party time before, a running goal from a ruckman, that just about signals it.
Well, you're going well, aren't you, if your ruckman can break the lines and then launch one from 50, which he did on that occasion. Cameron Duffy's been very serviceable today and becomes Glenorchy's 10th goal kicker of the game, Breno.
Yeah, 88 points is the margin again. Edging closer to that ton, which you never want to see if you're the opposition.
I've got to say, we didn't see this coming, did we, boys, on our way to the footy today? We expected a pretty close contest. Glenorchy, I think we all tipped as favourites for this game, but certainly the margin has been a surprise for us.
Absolutely. As the ball gets wrapped up inside the centre square, umpire will have it. A bit dark here, getting darker here at KG5. Sun's hidden now behind the clouds as we get underway again. Franklin gets boot to ball, and a good mark by Mosquito. Wants to go quickly and does. Puts it up high. Hooker's there, but McManus out the back door. Wheels around, gets it on the boot, but it is not going to go anywhere near goal. And Daniel Joseph mops up for the Magpies.
It's a shame he instinctively played on. It was a really nice mark.
So Joseph pushes it forward to Daly. On the far side of the ground, he has been
very good. And their ability to spread from a contest, once they've won the footy, Glenorchy, has been a feature right throughout this game.
James Webb, little toe poke, didn't do what he wanted it to do. And now here's a chance for Lauderdale again. Hill delivers it long. Mosquito's there again. Buzz.
He's had a good quarter.
He goes long, looking for his teammate out the back door. Free kick being paid here. And it's going against.
Hands in the back.
Yep. So Glenorchy will get it through Gunther. Joseph. First game back with the club this afternoon. Great to see him back in the black and white. Here's Josh Arnold. Handballs backwards to Millhouse. Little short kick. And straight to where he didn't want it to go. Stanley back to Heavey. Bell Chambers now for the Bombers. He looked to load up. Has a bounce in the end. Goes right to the paint of 50. Now inside. Couldn't be taken, but out the back door is Cantilla. And just to the right for a minus score. So
it's one of the few turnovers that we've seen in the back half from Glenorchy. It was young Millhouse who just missed the target.
Back into play. Reece Mott with the football. Absolute star and has been for a long time for Glenorchy. Inside the centre square. Daly flew. Here's Camerick though with the football.
Clever
Back
play,
to Daly. Bounce didn't do him any favours. Stanley now. Slips over. Does well though. Gets back up and gets the handball away. The Bombers are off. But intercepted by the Magpies. Camerick, handballs to Duffy. Kicked that running goal moments ago, which was brilliant. He puts a high ball inside to his teammate Webster. Goes over the top. Not sure if that was the siren or not, but
Well, it's a free kick.
Free kick going back here. Some sort of
Don't
horn
the
just
players
went off.
must be exhausted if we look at the scoreboard.
Yeah,
52
the old
minute quarter.
52-minute quarter on the scoreboard. Not sure who's running the time there, but what is the actual game time? We got it on. We have it on the screen.
Zach Webster goes back and
So 28
kicks the easiest
actual
of
time.
goals. And this one is real ugly now.
Yeah, struggling to find different ways to describe it now. We've said ugly a dozen times, I reckon.
Boys, just going to throw it at you. You saw Clarence last week, so this is the second time that we've seen Lauderdale. Our first look at Glenorchy today. A bit of a comparison early stages between Clarence and Glenorchy for you two.
Well, it's hard to judge because Lauderdale was certainly a lot better than they have been today down at their home patch. But I just think Glenorchy probably look a little more star-studded and very well organised. That looked like another false start from the siren
what's
here.
going on?
Maybe that's
Franklin
the
drops it off. Inside 50 through Heavey, over the back. Good bit of body work from
There we go. Is that the rule?
Kerenea. I'm not sure whether that forward entry was meant to happen, but it has happened. Luckily, it's not going to affect the scoreboard too much. Kerenea to line up. Maybe something positive to finish a pretty ordinary quarter for the Bombers. Kerenea wanders on in. Off that left boot. Leaves it hanging horribly. A minor score. So that sums up an ordinary quarter for the Bombers. The game is well and truly beyond them at three-quarter time. Glenorchy have been phenomenal. A lot of winners across all lines, Cam Brown. And I'll get you to take us through the goal kickers if you've got them marked down there.
Yeah, well, they've had 20 goals scored, a 9-goal quarter that in the third quarter there to Lauderdale's 3 for the quarter. We'll start with the leaders. Mitch Walker has 5. Jai Bim, and what a great debut for him, boys. 3 goals already up in the three-quarter time. 2 goals to Jay Bowden and Callum Daly, and also Braden Webb, and then 1 to Mitch Rainbird, Brady Quinn, Harrison Gunther, James Webb, Harry Parker and Cameron Duffy. And for Lauderdale, 2 goals to Timmy Mosquito and 1 each to Kim Cantilla, Ryan Wiggins and Ben McGuinness. So three-quarter time here at KG5 Glenorchy, 29-129 to Lauderdale 5-7-37. What's that, Damo? A 92-point lead at the moment to Glenorchy. So they'll be pushing hard, you would think, to try and get this margin up and around that 120-point margin, which would be a stunning result for Paul Kennedy in his first game in charge. But you mentioned Glenorchy being organised. That's been a key feature. Right across the ground they've had winners. Their ball movement's been terrific by foot. Certainly set up really well defensively, and their ability to break from a stoppage and find some run has been terrific. And Lauderdale, they did have a few moments in that third quarter, Damo, but they were still few and far between, and they're just lacking some spark. No real system with ball in hand at the moment. Glenorchy have just been able to cut them off at every angle. So still plenty to play for in the last 30 minutes for both teams.
Well, I was about to say that. Glenorchy have a big showdown next week up against North Launceston. And Lauderdale, they just need to get something out of this last quarter so the whole game isn't a total write-off for them. So important for very, very different reasons, these two teams. But I'll tell you what, looking forward to tuning in next week. Our live stream game from Launceston will be Dave Moore leading the commentary team, as he does very, very well. It'll be Glenorchy, who we've seen here today, and North Launceston. So stay tuned for that one next week. At the moment, it's Glenorchy well in control. We'll have a brief break. We'll be back for the final term here from KG5. So last quarter to come here from KG5. The result, a foregone conclusion. Glenorchy have been dominant across 3 quarters. What does the final one have in store? We'll stay with us and find out. Lauderdale, an opportunity to get something out of this game in the last quarter. Glenorchy looking to storm on and make this a really big victory ahead of the date with North Launceston next week.
That's going to be a beauty, isn't it? Up there at UTAS Stadium. Absolute cracker.
On this showing, I think you were getting to it, Cam Brown, at the end of the quarter, talking about how do you compare Clarence and Glenorchy. I think Glenorchy, on what we've seen today, might be the best team in the south.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with you there, Damo. I might, albeit it's only early days in the season, but they've looked very impressive today. It's hard to know. Take too much out of it. Obviously, the opposition have been really down today, both in personnel and effort. But take nothing away from Glenorchy. They've dominated this game.
Paul Kennedy, the new coach, looking pretty relaxed at 3/4 time as he makes his way up towards us. Sort of a smile on his face. Never happy for a coach, eh? But pretty happy at the moment, I reckon, with a big, big lead here to the Magpies heading into the final term of this round 2 clash at KG5. We're back underway. It's Duffy and Ben McGuinness in the ruck. He's played everywhere today, Benny McGuinness. Here's Rainbird. He puts a long ball, a high ball. No one's there to take the mark, though, unfortunately, for the Pies. Turnover hit. No. Lauderdale do well to get it out of danger. But the kick isn't a great one. Zach Webster taps it down to himself. And now here's a chance again. Gets the footy back. Webster dodges one. Gets the handball away to Quinn. Quinn centres it to Rainbird. Rainbird puts it up, but it is way off. His range was not on there at all. Out of bounds on the full. So Alex Hill will take the kick for the Dale. What can they do? Can they get themselves back in and make the scoreboard a little prettier to read by the end of this game? We'll find out in the next 25, 30 minutes. He's geared. And ball's off. Another inside 50, but no, it wasn't in the end. It was out of bounds on the full. So Lauderdale to take the kick through Robbie McManus, who's been busy throughout the whole game today. Robbie McManus. There's a start. And kicks it long in the end. And
another barrel.
Another barrel, you're right, Tamo. Had a few today as Gunther takes the mark. No, he's been pinged there. So it's going the way of McGuinness.
I'm loving the barrels.
There's been 4 or 5 today from Lauderdale.
Well, I'm not loving that kick.
Jay Bowden takes the mark. Inside the centre square now. Camrick. Trying to find an option.
Was just too
goes
easy.
wide. It was Quinn. Quinn now. Goes along. Daly.
That's just great body use,
Takes
wasn't
a
it?
great mark. It was indeed. Little fella, but strong.
I've been really impressed with his game. Really impressed.
Well, he came on really late in the back half of last season and acquitted himself really, really well. This part of his game, his forward craft, is something we haven't necessarily seen in his career at Glenorchy, but he's lining up for his 3rd.
Callan Daly looks
That'll
pretty
do.
good off the boot. Splits the middle. And Glenorchy has their 21st of the game.
Yeah, well, he's matched up 1-on-1 there with Josh Williams, who's had a quiet day today for Lauderdale. Hasn't been able to do anything really from an offensive point of view for his team, and he's one player that can run and carry, but used all his experience there. Daly, we mentioned him early on the call. He a dual best and fairest winner at Brighton, and kicked his 3rd. And they seem to have the balance right too, Damo, don't they? They've got some good tools up there because some really smart, small crumbing forwards who are dangerous at ground level but can also catch it in the air.
Yeah, and they've got types they can roll through midfield and forward and off half back. The versatility of the squad's really good as well. As this one's going absolutely nowhere, but he's pinging Rainbird, so holding the ball. He did jump on it. Bill Chambers all over him, keen to get a hurry on. He shakes one way, goes the other, gets around him, bursts. A good kick for Heavey. Got the sit. He takes the grab. So Heavey.
He's not too far out, boys. Remember that call was made.
That's the whole thing about Heavey.
Infamous call going back last year at Belree from memory.
If it's inside their forward half, he's not out of range, is he? After that, I think you guys have put your pens down and walked away.
No, I backed him in from memory. Only one of the team.
I'd like to see the audio of that.
Here we go, Alex Evie. He's looking inside. He opts to handball off to Alex Hill, who strides in. That's a shocker off the boot.
That just sums up their day, really.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, the option wasn't bad because we've seen Alex Hill do that before, run around the back. He used a thumping kick of the footy, but just didn't time it at all.
He kicked a good one at Lauderdale last week. Similar sort of situation, handed off. But, yeah, you're right. That one not up to standard. Millhouse with ball in hand. He's got a runner, and he uses him in Arnold. He'll steer this one to the broadcast wing, looking for Bowden. Whacks it on the boot. Finds a player.
Quinn.
It goes forward. Yes, it's Quinn. Juggling was Daly. Goes by him. Walker just shovels it Glenorchy's way. Daly tries to pick it up. Williams weasels his way through. Wins the ball. A good kick inside. Franklin got a bit of space to use. Drops it off for Hill. And now with Sutton. Was busy early. Been pretty quiet since. Finds Kennedy. Kennedy with a kick to Stanley. Turns and goes. Puts it out in front of Josh McGuinness. Takes a grab inside 50. Josh McGuinness, he's kept on trying. Hasn't been their day at all, Lauderdale. The McGuinness brothers been thrown around all over the place.
They have actually.
Rag dolls.
Too many positions on the ground they haven't played.
So Josh McGuinness, the studded approach, crosses the paint of 50. He lets it hang. That one's not going to make the journey. Ben McGuinness out the back. Wiggins picks it up, trying to find Mosquito. He does. A grubber along the ground. Just trying to run this over here. They got it across the try line. It'll come out for the Magpies. Keen to get it moving. Mott just can't gather. He's got a few offering on inside. It bounces just ahead of Rainbird. He drops it off. They've got plenty of time and space when they've got the footy. Glenorchy. That one was off the boot of Millhouse. He'll go back to him. He's got all sorts of options. He picks out Bowden. He strides from one side to the other. Got Arnold on his own. He just deals with Wiggins and strides away. Finds this skipper in Webb. He's got 2 or 3 inside if he wants them. Opts for his brother. Doesn't quite get to him. Williams cuts it off. Ben McGuinness inside to Mosquito, and then Sutton through hands. Then Heavey. He's caught on the spot. Comes to Mosquito, not quite. Cut off. They're away now. Braden Webb to Camrick. Looks up. It's Walker there. Kicks it to himself in the end as he gathers Hill all over him. Climbs on top of him. He's wearing Hill as a backpack. It'll be a ball up.
97 points is the damage here. 6 minutes into this final term of round 2 TSL footy. Some big leads up north as well as we see the Pies attack yet again. And, oh, here he is again, Bierman. Takes a lovely mark. The angle here is going to be tough. So
he's a smart footballer, isn't he? Just the way he moves, and he's got a bit of spunk about him, boys, too. Doesn't mind mixing it physically. Or watching him off the ball on a few occasions. He's quite vocal on the ground too, which is great to see in a young player just playing his first game.
Speaking of vocal,
yeah, the crowd's
some support.
Crowd's going nuts here. So Jai Bierman
He'll celebrate if he kicks
lining up, looks all right, and just to the right for a minor score. So certainly we're getting involved there, the crowd. Lots of stuff happening here at KG5 as Sutton takes the mark.
Saw Harry Parker coming off before, boys. Just had his leg bandaged, so it looks like he has done something to his leg, and looks like he's done for the day.
Alex Hill takes the mark in the back pocket for the Bombers.
No, he's back again.
Hill, there's an attempted torp, and a mark taken there by Joshy Arnold. Play on was the call, and holding the footy. So the kick will go to Lauderdale, and we'll go to Ryan Wiggins. Just the one goal for him this afternoon. Goes backwards to Hill, who sends it wide. to the running McManus, who gobbles up the footy.
He's tried hard, McManus.
He has indeed. He's been pretty busy for the Bombers all day. Not much happening now. Umpire says play on, so he does. And that kick is going to be gobbled up by Glenorchy and Josh Arnold. So he'll go back now and try and find an option. He does, and unfortunately over the head of Walker and marked by Wiggins. He goes quickly now to Hooker, who managed to get there just in front of Brodie Quint. And now McManus again.
That's
a high
his
ball, and that's
modus operandi, the torpedo now.
Mott collects for the Glenorchy. And now Jay Bowden on the far wing here at KG5. Handball over the top. And there's plenty of time and space here for Camrick, who goes inside. Mark couldn't be taken by... Webb's got the footy anyway. He wheels around. Unfortunately for him, didn't bounce to his favour. But now Rainbird out of the pack. He's wrapped up in a good tackle there by Casellas.
They're away.
They're away indeed. Here's Mosquito. And now Stanley. Back to Mosquito, who's on the run. Looks further afield. Finds Hooker.
They're out.
And, big smother. So nothing going Lauderdale's way here at the moment, that's for sure. Glenorchy with the footy again through Gunther. Centres it. And now here's a chance for Hooker. And offline to the left. Minus score.
Had way more time, didn't he?
98 points is the margin.
Out of defence they come. It's with Joseph. He finds Jay Bowden. He's had that wing to himself for the last couple of minutes. Puts it long. Lovely bit of use. Finds Braden Webb. Gets it inside 50. Looking for Zach Webster. Off hands. And Camrick gathers and gathers well. A little nudgy kick is good. Finds Parker.
I thought he was in a bit of trouble for boys. He looked like he was limping. He's got his knee bandaged.
Mustn't be too much wrong with him, because you'd think game situation, you put him on ice if there's any worry. Maybe just a little knock. So Parker skips around, throws it on the boot.
Missed.
Off the line. So it could be uglier, really.
You know, you're right.
What is it?
21-11.
32 shots to 14.
Just the one goal scored so far in 11 minutes in this final quarter.
Franklin, a dinky little kick. Bill Chambers under it and takes the grab. Inside, looking for Smith. That's not his best bit of use. Bill Chambers. It's picked up by Walker. A good kick inside. And it's Millhouse. He'll have a shot.
We'd like to get on the scoreboard, Joel Millhouse. We saw him. We saw his debut last year, boys. I think we might have been calling that game, and he was able to hold his spot in the Glenorchy side. A brother playing at North Hobart. Played a bit of cricket at Newtown too, Joel Millhouse. He'd like to get on the scoreboard here.
In comes Millhouse.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's probably his issue, boys. He's probably his kick. He shows great endeavour and works really hard defensively for his team, but that's the area of growth in his game, the kicking, I believe.
Don't know who's more filthy. I had the best line lined up then, but if he's going to kick it, everything was coming up Millhouse, but wasn't a B, because it's out of play.
You won't get that opportunity.
Yeah, I know.
Unless Joel pushes
What did you
forward.
waste it for?
That's all right, I can
Sorry,
still
mate.
use it. But everything is coming up Glenorchy as it currently stands here at KG5. Ball to be thrown back in. This quarter, maybe both teams just out of juice a little. It's picked up, and it's with James Webb. Just a little pokey kick inside. Mitch Walker gets hands to it, but can't bring it up. Daly burrowing through. Picks up the ball, tries a grubber. Off the ground, Webster. A minor score. Another behind for Glenorchy.
Geez, front and centre work today. Cullen Daly's been terrific.
Beautiful.
Dangerous.
That's
It's an
a ton
even
up
100
too.
points.
Yep.
An even 100 points as they bring it out of defence now. Lauderdale. It's with Mosquito. A little kick for Josh McGuinness. He can give it back to Mosquito, and he does. Mosquito now. Inside 50. Ben McGuinness all on his Pat Malone. He takes the mark. He'll go back and line up for
Nice
a
kick.
rare Lauderdale goal.
That's probably when they've looked their most likely, when the ball's in Mosquito's hands, running, breaking the lines and doing forward entries. And some good work off the ball, actually, by Stanley, just to allow McGuinness to have some opportunity. Just unselfish play there by Stanley.
Just on the haircut, what are you going to the hairdressers and ask for there?
I don't think you're visiting a hairdresser if your hair looks like that. Ben McGuinness skips on in. He's been everywhere today, except between the big sticks. That's offline.
Self-job, you reckon, Damo?
Oh, no doubt. That's the old I fell asleep at a party and this is what I've come back with.
Back in play. Glenorchy has it in defence. Little short kick. So we're winding down now. Still plenty of time left in this game, though. But as Damo said a little while ago, seems like both sides just have taken the foot off the pedal in this last quarter. Run out of a bit of gas, only 2 rounds into the season. Oh, it's not a great kick, and the mark taken there by Kerenea. And inside 50, mark couldn't be taken due to Jay Bowden coming through. Glenorchy gets the footy back. Gunther puts it forward. And no one can get a clear possession here. Footy's just going around everywhere. And now Glenorchy might be away, but no, intercepted by McManus. Oh, intercepted by Glenorchy now. So just can't get it cleanly either side, but Glenorchy away here now through Walker. He's a big man. He's had a great day out this afternoon. Was clever there. Waited for his teammate to run past. Gives the handball off, and a good mark taken inside by Harry Parker. We'll go back now and have another shot on goal.
Yeah, good call, Brenner. It was smart play by Walker. He just waited for his opponent potentially to overcommit and saw the overlap in Webb, and it was a really smart kick and forward 50 entry and a nice mark to Parker. He gets another opportunity.
Harry Parker lining up, slight angle, will kick from about 15 metres out. This for the biggest lead of the day. 105 points, if you don't mind, to Glenorchy's advantage. And this one is ugly viewing for Lauderdale fans.
Well, he comes the 6th multiple goal kicker today for Glenorchy, so they've been able to do it from all different avenues, smalls, talls, mids. And as you mentioned now, 105-point margin. And still a fair bit of time to be played, so Glenorchy can certainly increase on that.
Oh, you don't often look for a percentage booster in your first game of the season, do you, Brownie?
No, well, it was mentioned a few times that no one really saw this margin coming today when we came to the footy. I don't think we would have saw Ben McGuinness going up in the ruck either.
No, we wouldn't have. But there he is. He loses the tap, but they emerge with it. The clearance. Punched away by McManus. Receives it back from Bell Chambers. Inside 50 now. It's a kick that leaves a little to be desired. Mott tracks it down and runs out of bounds. So 105 points, that is an absolute thumping here at KG5. A real statement of intent from Paul Kennedy's Magpies. Of course, they were defending their premiership last year and the wheels came off towards the end of the year. They were out in the first final, but geez, they're back in business, the Magpies. Try and work it through hands here. It's a congested ball. McGuinness dives on top. They're calling for holding the ball. Nothing coming from umpire Sam Bridges. You throw up. The sting really out of this contest. So McGuinness wins the hit out this time to his brother. Stanley whacks it on the boot. Wiggins gets a little bit of latitude and takes the grab. So he'll line up directly in front inside the square.
To quote Damien Gill at half-time of this game, he said at Windsor Park it wasn't as big a blowout as he thought it would be. Ken?
No, he'd like that moment back as Launceston 21-21, 147 over North Hobart 2-4-16. That's 28-minute mark of the last quarter.
Well, they kicked away with it as Higgins puts it through.
They responded.
What's the score in the other game in Launceston, please, Cam? I'll do it myself. Actually, 82 plays 22.
I reckon that one's just a touch behind. Leave it with me for a second. 92 plays 30. So,
is that a feel of Cam Brown's phone? It's one of the bigger covers on there. Damo, look at that. Weighs about 5 kilos.
Safety first.
Gee whiz. Pretty heavy in the pocket.
A bit of a gym workout every time you get the phone. Just a little bicep curls every time you check the scores there, Cam.
Oh, back underway in the middle. Here's Bell Chambers off to Franklin. Heavey. Heavey goes inside 50. And good clunk taken
It was a great
out
kick.
in front. It was a good kick. Spot up the target, and Lauderdale will go back and try and get another one. And it's B. Hayden Smith that will take the kick directly in front, 30 metres out.
Their opportunity for their first back-to-back goals, I would have thought, for this game.
You could look at the positives, don't you? And this will be one of them if they can convert here, the Bombers. Hayden Smith, who was integral in Lauderdale making last year's grand final. He was super for them. In he comes. He loads up on the right boot, and it looks pretty good. So back-to-back goals for the Bombers. A little positive after a dirty day for the Bombers.
Yeah, it's been very, very dirty, this one. No question about it. They've struggled to really make an impact and not take anything away from Glenorchy. They've been super impressive, but Lauderdale certainly aren't the outfit we've got used to. Thing about Lauderdale, though, is they started their season with 4 losses last year.
4, was it?
I think
3.
You might be right. It might be 3. And then they went on a massive run and then found their way in a grand final. So certainly not hope lost.
Tough
from
next
here.
week, Damo. Launceston at home.
That's going to be an interesting contest. Hands over the top. Bit of niggle between those two teams as well. Jay Bowden weasels his way through traffic. Finds Duffy. Drops it off.
Thoughts on Daniel Joseph's game today, Cam?
Back for Duffy.
Yeah, loved it.
Inside 50. His play goes on.
Sorry,
It's
Dave.
Walker again. It's all right. You
Yeah,
just
no.
chat amongst yourselves.
The question was Daniel Joseph. I think he's been terrific. Just such a damaging player by foot. Underrated too by hand and never panics. He's got great poise and a really damaging player across half-back. I reckon he's been the best 2 or 3 on the ground.
He'll probably feature in your votes at the end of the game then,
He
Brandon.
may well do.
Here comes Walker. It's been a good afternoon for him. That's not his best kick. A minor score. He's full-time just in the AFL. A nail-biter between Port Adelaide and Brisbane.
Oh,
They've got the job done by 5 points.
Really?
The power.
liking what Brisbane's bring to the table.
Steph Martin with 176 in fantasy for you fantasy viewers out there.
Goodness me.
Enormous.
That is extraordinary.
It's Ray Hill, Razor Ray. Whacks it on the boot, long and strong. Ben McGuinness, will he fly all over the back? Just thought we might see a repeat of last week there. Tries to slap it on the boot. It's a throw. Away they go again, Glenorchy. They're relentless. Jay Bowden with a shimmy and a shake. Crosses the paint. Eyes goal.
Missed.
And offline.
Potentially had young Bierman running into space. Normally back him to kick days. Had a terrific game as well today.
How many's Jay kicked now? How many has he kicked? 2 or 3? 2, I think.
It's going to test
His
Brandon.
hands off.
2.
So,
I tell you what, if you saw 22 goals for Glenorchy, you would have thought Jay had 10.
very good call, Damien.
As it goes over the top, Heavey. Just shows the options they've got inside 50. Heavey finds Ben McGuinness. He wheels and goes. Little kick for Hooker. He's caught behind his man. It's won by Wiggins. Over the top, it's all Lauderdale. Stanley. He'll have time to pick this up, get out the picnic rug and pop it through.
He's missed
No.
it.
Don't tell me. He could have wandered on in. That's a howler.
Oh.
Just about sums up the day. Jay Bowden will take the kick and power it out of defence.
And Lauderdale have another chance to go here. Here's Sutton. Wheels around. Pops up the kick. And a good mark taken there. An easy mark taken there by Mosquito. Timothy Mosquito.
I think
Yeah.
second half in particular has been one shining light for Lauderdale.
You won't notice on the coverage here, but it's got very dark here at KG5 in the last 5 minutes or so. As we see Mosquito line up. And the kick is on target. So another goal for Lauderdale. That's their 8th of the afternoon.
He'll feature in their best, I reckon, Brownie.
I'd have to. He's kicked 3 all in the second half, I think, boys. Am I right in saying?
Yep.
Potentially. So, in fairness to Lauderdale, I think they might have won the quarter.
I was about to say that. I think they'd be
Well, they haven't
close
won it
to
yet, but they're certainly in front.
Yeah.
Gee, you're right. It's got very dark here, Breno, at KG5.
Carl Saunders not flicking the switch on the lights just yet. Does he have control of them out here or just at Belrive?
I was going to say, geez, you're asking a bit of Carlos there. You are asking a bit of Carlos as the ball's up in the middle. Ben McGuinness, the unlikely ruckman, wins it down for Franklin. Out for Mosquito. Skipping away. He's had a good second half.
Free kick.
Hands over the shoulder there, I think. It'll be a Stanley free kick.
Yeah, Reece might on that occasion, just to try and get some elevation on the spoil. Reached out, hand on the shoulder.
So, finishing okay, Lauderdale.
There's certainly some respectability on the scoreboard now, isn't there?
Well, they had to, didn't they? It was really important
So
for the playing
Stanley
group to respond.
crosses the paint, wanders on in from about 35. Leaves it hanging out to the right, a minor score.
A couple of opportunities for Stanley late in this last quarter.
The other one, I got a bit carried away, but it was a shocker. A little kick from Arnold.
You were hard on him.
Bowden jigs inside. Little dance. Long with a kick, looking for Daly, the little fella. Wanted to get up, but couldn't quite. Quinn bustles through. It's won by Sutton. He drops it off. Raglione from the paint of 50. Eyes goal. I think he's finished that off.
Nice
he has. Lovely stuff from the formeroo.
Yeah, no, great goal. And I think he's been pretty good, Raglione, this afternoon, Cam.
He's always had good size about him and rangy type. Long left foot kick there, and just his second game at a new club as he.
He's straight off, Cam. What do you think about that? You kick a goal, you come off. What's your thoughts on that, being a connoisseur of the game?
Well, it's just the norm these days, isn't it? In rotation.
Are you a fan of it though? Do you think it's a bad move when you've got a bit of momentum? Not that it matters
I think
now,
it's
but
horses of courses. Sometimes you see a player on a real roll and looks dangerous inside forward 50 and then comes off for a rest. I think what I will say is I like the better players being out on the ground for longer if possible, and particularly midfielders if they can push forward, which we see a lot in the AFL now, rather than come off the ground for long periods.
We've seen Glenorchy do it quite a bit today.
we have indeed. Webb taps it forward. Smith tried to juggle the footy.
Just
Just
an observation too, Breno. Just picking up in Damo's voice a little bit of excitement in that hoodoo might be broken between Melbourne and North Melbourne. Just a little bit more spring in his step at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit worried
Is that just
earlier
me
on,
or
the
not?
great man, but they'd be close to winning now.
Well, he won't rule it out after 17 straight losses.
That's it, as the ball comes back in here.
It was probably in primary school the last time they won.
I think I was in your class, Cameron.
So we continue here at KG5. Not too long left in this one. 25 minutes gone, final term. Sutton over the top to McManus. Another inside 50 for Lauderdale. Joseph's there, so is Stanley though. He does a bit of a turn. Wiggins throws it on the boot to the top of the square. It's punched through.
Jeez, not a bad punch,
Millhouse.
that.
It was terrific. Double-hander.
Crowd getting involved here. Not sure why. Very vocal. Glenorchy bring it back in, but the kick's not great. McGuinness almost took the mark. Zach Webster collects though for the Magpies. Jay Bowden been busy all day, as he always is. And there's the siren, which ends a dirty day for the Lauderdale Football Club. But full credit to Glenorchy, who opens its season in style. 22-15-147 to Lauderdale 9-12-66. Glenorchy big winners in round 2 of the TSL.
They were magnificent, weren't they, Brownie?
Yeah, look, full credit to them. And I thought they were very disciplined. They may be slightly disappointed they didn't win the last quarter, but I thought their effort was still there. And they probably missed a couple of opportunities themselves in the last quarter for a few goals, which they normally might have got. So, but from a Lauderdale perspective, really, really disappointing today. Just really lacked spark right from the opening minutes, really, and a 7-goal burst from the Pies on the home patch was set the scene, really. Lauderdale, the last quarter, in particular, the last 15 minutes was probably their best period of the game when they actually were able to get back-to-back goals. So a fair bit of work to do for them. They'll obviously welcome a couple of key players that are out of their team in Boscott and Walsh and one or two others that they'll all be able to get back. But it's been a pretty tough week off the field for Lauderdale, and unfortunately it continued today, so they'll need to regroup. But for Glenorchy, what an outstanding start for the season for them. They were just terrific. I love their ball movement. A big fan of their foot skills. They seem very organised in the defensive part of the ground. Very disciplined, even the way they shared the footy around. Always trying to get it into a better opportunity. They spread very well from the contest. They won the contested footy clearly and uncontested football as well out in space. And they had a really productive midfield, a disciplined back line, and a lively forward line too, boys, as we go through the goal kickers.
Yeah, must remember too, Scott Hill, his injury too.
Yeah, that didn't help.
That was ugly, wasn't it too? So that's no good for him. And as you said, Damo, earlier on, thoughts with him, and hopefully his recovery's okay from whatever the injury was. There he is, hobbling over the field at the moment by the look of it. So not a great day at all for the Bombers. There's Paul Kennedy walking across the ground too. What a debut for him in his opening game of TSL footy.
Very casually just wandering across. Great day at the office. So I'll go through the goal kickers. 5 goals for Mitch Walker on his debut at TSL level in black and white. Fantastic. 3 goals for Jai Behrman, Cullen Daly. 2 for Jay Bowden, Braden Webb, Harry Parker. And who am I missing there? No, that's all the 2. And singles to Mitch Rainbird, Harrison Gunther, James Webb, and Cam Duffy with a ripper on the run from the big man for Lauderdale. 3 goals to Tim Mosquito, who was one of their best for sure. 2 to Ryan Wiggins, and singles to Kim Cantilla, Hayden Smith, Nick Raglione, and Ben McGuinness.
What's the message, do you think, Breno, for Clinton Brown and Lauderdale as they come off? I guess you'd be pleased with the last quarter, but overall a really disappointing afternoon.
Yeah, look, you just got to pick yourself up, I suppose, and get ready for next week, Cam. We know they've got a big game against Launceston back down there at Lauderdale Oval next Saturday afternoon. So we know they started the season as they did last year, as we mentioned earlier. A little bit different circumstances in 2018, though, with the personnel they've lost through obviously Bryce Walsh and Thor Boscott, probably their 2 best players, and the guys they've lost as well over the off-season. Wish Wilson with that knee injury, and Max Clevercamp back to Victoria. So it's going to be tough for them. But you know, and with Darren Winters sidelined as well, and obviously what's happened during the week with Jordan Roberts, certainly a disastrous start to the season, really, for Lauderdale.
Got to be said, Glenorchy, it's a bit of a fortress out here. They play this ground so very, very well and have done for a number of years. But they'd be really buoyed by this opening to the season, Damo.
The votes now, who's going to have them? I'll give them to you, Cam,
no,
first
I'm not watching this year.
Because Brent only gives out 3 and 1. I wouldn't mind 3-2-1.
They had some terrific players, didn't they? I thought Rainbird and Mott were really good for them at different stages. Gunther started off the game pretty well. James Webb looked lively, so too did Braden Webb. Even Josh Graney didn't get a lot of the footy. I thought it was very disciplined across half-back. And a shout-out too to the 3 boys that were making their debuts today. I thought Jack Stevenson across half-back had some really nice moments. Adam Roberts got his hand on the footy. Probably the best of them, though, was young Beerman. 3 goals on debut, the boy from New Norfolk, the small forward, and had some real natural forward craft. I'm just trying to pad this out a little bit while I try and come up with a 3-2-1 without having it all in front of me. But I'll go with Joseph, boys. I thought I loved his game off half-back. I'm probably seduced by the way he uses the footy. He's just such a beautiful kick of the footy. Whenever the ball was in his hands, I thought something was happening, and his decision-making across half-back and his poise was delight. So 3 votes to him. I thought
3.
Yes,
starting with 3.
Yeah, starting with 3. Yeah, that's the way you do it. And Jay Bowden with 2 votes for mine. I thought a different role for him at times today, but certainly was able to win a host of possessions across half-back, and always made smart decisions. And you know, as someone might have said in the call, I think it was you, Damo, you'd normally expect when you saw the amount of goals, 22 kicked by Glenorchy, that he would certainly be up around the 6 or 7 goal mark, but kicked his 2 today and won a heap of the footy. And I thought Cullen Daly, I thought he was terrific, particularly his ability to get into some really dangerous spots in inside forward 50 in particular. He's added another dimension to his game at this particular level, and 3 goals and won plenty of the footy. But you know, apologies to a lot of players, particularly Braden Webb. I thought he was really good, and Raybird had some great moments as well. But gee, I don't think they had a bad player, Glenorchy.
No, they didn't. They were great across all lines, and a massive win for them today here at KG5. They're back on the stream next week. We won't be, but you'll be in the very, very capable hands of Dave Moore, who will be calling North Launceston up against Glenorchy live in BUPA TSL Round 3 action. That's going to be an absolute corker. We hope you've enjoyed today's coverage. Glenorchy fans certainly would have. Bye for now.